overtime to flip the script, pushing his own version of events and telling the world that his probation officer's so-called popping hitman was only fabricating stories in court. His whole angle, painting the shooter's words as desperate lies from someone just trying to save themselves. But here's the twist. Govan had a sharp legal team that knew exactly how to play the jury game.
I got a team around me that was very confident and supportive, so without them, it wouldn't be no me.
They stacked the deck in ways that made his defense look stronger than it really was. And truth be told, if Govan slips up, he could end up just like Keith D, staring down a case that gets dragged back open all over again. One scene that felt as off as a botched BBL came out during his Vlad TV sit-down. Cornelius Smith pulled up at Govan's house, and strangely enough, Yo Gotti's own brother Jook, the same guy who never missed a chance to show his hate for Young Dolph, was chilling in the living room like it was nothing. Govan claimed Cornelius came at him saying they ain't trying to do nothing about Dolph trying to take Gotti out. But Govan brushed it off quick, replying, "That ain't my business," before closing the door. He swore he wasn't about to spread talk like that because his mind was on chasing a record deal, not street politics. So here's how the scene played out. Vlad recalled that Cornelius Smith had pulled up to the house, and Govan remembered every detail. A knock hit the door. He figured Cornelius was just there for some X pills, like always, so he brushed him off and told him to slide back later. At that moment, Govan was locked in on trying to land a record deal for straight drop, not street talk. But Cornelius wouldn't let it go. He hit back with, "Nah, it's important." That's when Govan finally stepped outside, and what came next threw him off balance. Cornelius leaned in and dropped a line Govan wasn't ready for. "Man, they ain't trying to do nothing about Dolph trying to kill Gotti." For Govan, that was wild to hear. He'd caught whispers about drama aimed at Dolph before, but Dolph plotting against Gotti? That was a whole new level. And from that point on, the conversation flipped in a way he didn't expect. Cornelius painted the story in a totally different light. He claimed straight drop wasn't even around that day. No music dreams, no record deal talk with Jook. Instead, Cornelius swore that Govan actually brought him inside the house where he got introduced to Jook for the very first time. According to Cornelius, Govan looked at Jook and said, "This my man C I've been talking about." But Jook wasn't about to play it casual. He shut things down quick with, "Y'all take them phones outside." Only once the phones were out of the room did things shift. Cornelius said Jook and he had their own private conversation. And when Govan circled back in, that's when things allegedly got darker. Cornelius insisted Govan started throwing around bounty talk, bringing up reports that Young Dolph supposedly had the highest tag on his head, with numbers hitting $100,000.
We knew that, they had a hit on Dolph in them head or whatever, so...
Who had a hit on whose head?
Big Jook had a hit on Dolph's head or whatnot, so...
How do you know that Big Jook had a hit on Dolph's head?
But Quick had told me about it, Quick, and you know what I'm saying, then just...
How much money was it supposed to be?
$100,000 on Dolph's head.
And had you agreed to do this hit?
Yes, sir.
Vlad didn't let him off easy. He pushed straight to the point. He asked, "So you didn't introduce Cornelius and Justin to Jook? What did you think when you later heard they were the shooters tied to the bounty?" Govan's response, pure sidestep mode. Instead of giving a clear answer, he danced around the question, speaking in circles and layering his words with riddles and double talk, like he was trying to confuse the whole situation. Vlad kept pushing the timeline, refusing to let it slide. He asked, "Straight dropping Cornelius, two guys who had been at your house months earlier were suspects. When you heard that, did you think it was coincidence?" Govan leaned back like he was rewinding the memory. He corrected Vlad quick, saying it was January 5th when Justin, better known as Straight Drop, was first blasted online as a suspect. He claimed he found out right away because it was blowing up all over social media. Everybody in Memphis already knew about the CMG versus paper route beef. It was no secret. Govan insisted that once he played middleman with music introductions, he fell back. "I got out of the way. I wasn't managing them. I went back to hustling. Weed, bets, the same grind." Still, when Justin's name hit, Govan admitted it was alarming. He knew Straight Drop well enough to believe the rumors could be real, and that's what shook him the most. But here's where the cracks started showing. Govan admitted he linked Straight Drop with Jook, but denied ever introducing Cornelius. So how did Cornelius end up tied into the plot? That question still hangs in the air. Critics say the answer is obvious. Cornelius wasn't some outsider. He was Govan's customer, one of his flunkies, running around with Chula Mafia. Meanwhile, Straight Drop kept his lips sealed, swallowed a life sentence, and never snitched. Govan, on the other hand, walked out free. And sitting in Vlad's chair, Govan pushed the idea that Straight Drop might have moved without him, connecting with Jook behind his back and carrying out the Dolph hit solo, even though Cornelius was one of his regulars. That's the kind of story folks call nasty work. When the trial hit, the whole thing boiled down to perception. The jury, mostly African American, struggled to put faith in Cornelius's testimony, seeing him as just another addict dealing with the pain of losing his son. They ignored that he was the main shooter with the Draco, the same weapon seen on video long before the names were public. Cornelius, truth be told, didn't have a reason to lie. He swore he only got $800 for the hit when he was promised $40,000. Straight Drop told him to hold tight, saying Jook called it too hot to hand over the money. Meanwhile, Straight Drop flashed designer fits and CMG features, while Cornelius was left with nothing but pills and crumbs. That's when the frustration set in. Cornelius realized he'd been played from the jump.
You were describing staying in touch with Justin, is that right?
Yeah.
To your knowledge, was he still in town or out of town?
My knowledge, he was here.
And you had mentioned the money, is that correct?
Yeah.
And he had told you that Jook said it was too hot right now.
Yeah, it was too hot right now.
But were you still interested in your money?
Yeah, I just wanted my money. I did his job, I just wanted my money.
And now we're back after the money. You're trying to get your money.
Right.
You're having conversations with Justin, is that correct?
Yeah, I was taking his phone like, you know what I'm saying? I need that money for the party.
Cornelius later claimed that only weeks after crossing paths with Govan, he got sent on a deadly mission with Straight Drop, this time aiming to collect the bounty on Paper Route Wu. But when the bullets started flying, Cornelius's gun jammed, leaving him seconds away from losing his life in the chaos. He pointed the finger straight at Govan, saying it was Govan who handed him that faulty pistol in the first place. Cornelius even described how Govan played slick games with Wu's girlfriend, using her to keep track of their every move. According to his version, the crew that night was him, Straight Drop, and Bobby. But Bobby eventually fell back for good after Straight Drop snitched to Govan that Cornelius had slipped up by not wearing a mask during one of the hits.
Were you involved in any other shit?
Well, one day, Mr. Govan had provided me with a gun. And he told us that Paper Route Wu was at home one day. So as we approached the house, with me, Bobby, Justin, and another guy, I don't know the other guy's name, Bobby dropped me off. I get out walking on foot. Paper Route Wu was coming out the house, and he had his gun in his hand at the time. And I was walking up the street. And me and him had a shootout or whatever. And the gun he provided me had jammed up. So, I had to duck and borrow weed, and Bobby had got to me. He got in the car and went back to his house and reported what had happened to him. And he was glad I ain't get killed that day right there. But Bobby was like, he wasn't messing with this stuff because he was believing what Justin them told him about we messed it up or whatever. And we didn't have our masks on and all this. So Quick was saying that he was gonna he would pay by Wu mama or whatever to find out what they be about, play up on the other. Find out who and them be is so we could reach out and touch them, find out where they at.
Was it just he was going to see where Wu was, or was there other Paper Route artists?
Any one of them, like Wu or anybody in Paper Route, he was going to make sure that, he play because mama liked him, so he was going to try to play that father figure and, find out where they at and make sure we could reach out and touch them.
Paper Route Wu fired back on the internet, brushing off the story like it was nothing. He posted, "I just got off the plane. What these boys said, my gun jammed. That's it, that's all." That only fueled the chatter. Users jumped in with jokes and taunts, stirring the pot even more. Wu didn't hold back, clapping back with heated replies. Then Dolph's cousin, Key Glock, dropped his own stinging line. My city failed me. But what's new? From there, the drama bled across social media, turning rumor and testimony into one messy storm of chaos.
12 jurors acquitted Govan on all charges. The foreperson of that jury sat down with WREG's Dorita Patterson for an exclusive interview on how the verdict was reached.
For the first time, the foreman of the 12-member jury says it is because of two words that decision to acquit was made.
Purely circumstantial.
Reasonable doubt, he went on to say, created when the defense began poking holes in the prosecution's case. Something the foreman noticed, he told us, was District Attorney Steve Mulroy as he popped in during the trial.
He knew right then and there, if that's the state's case, this isn't going well. And then he quickly exited after Mr. Aurora was shredding Mr. Smith on the stand.
It is that witness, Cornelius Smith, along with his girlfriend, Angela Arnold, who the foreman says were hardest to believe.
After Smith and Arnold testified, the state's best case scenario was a hung jury.
There wasn't just a feeling of untruthfulness, the juror told us, but a lack of proof.
It's not what you know, it's what you can prove in court. Why did you not get the video evidence?
The star witness in all this, Cornelius, stood side by side with his girlfriend, the same one who admitted buying that car cover at AutoZone. But both of them were painted as the least believable voices in the courtroom. And yet the hard evidence was there. Video showing the shooter gripping the Draco, calling himself out, breaking down why he pulled the trigger, and even pointing at who sent him to do it. On top of that, phone records lined up the communication trail. Still, the jurors turned away and chose doubt over proof. Memphis insiders say Govan had a personal motive because Dolph had signed an artist who was tangled up in a feud connected to J Money's brother. That move alone stirred bad blood in the streets and gave fuel to speculation about why Govan might have wanted Dolph out the way. And now the whispers online are even darker. Claims that Govan himself has a price on his head, a $200,000 bounty, which is double what was ever said to be on Dolph. The cycle of betrayal, money, and murder keeps spinning in Memphis. What do you think? Does this all line up, or is it just more street rumor? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.
You know, so I usually do my homework. I'll find somebody who knows somebody or something. They could give me some information, like, who is it? Like, who is he? And, you know, Frenchie, they got me the tape. They got me the tape of his mother's house, where his mom's work at. You know what I'm saying? The other cribs, the studios, stuff like that.
That's the Cali tape.
Right.
Okay.
I had all of it.
So this is the daughter of the ruler of Dubai, and apparently she uses controversial rule on social media.
Leave it to 50 Cent to keep pressing French Montana's buttons. The man never runs out of ammo, always ready with a slick troll tucked away, waiting to drop whenever French's name pops up in the blogs. But this time, it's bigger than just 50 tossing shade. His latest jab cracked open a whole new conversation. And it's not just about French ducking industry drama. Nah, it's about him running headfirst into something even messier, the gold-plated cage of Dubai royalty. On the surface, the headlines scream flex. French Montana engaged to a Dubai princess. To the casual fan, with her family worth a wild $18 billion, it looks like French finally graduated from street hustler to global kingpin. But scratch past that shiny glitter, and the picture gets real murky. Word is French's exit strategy might be less about romance and more about survival. With Diddy still tangled in federal flames and whispers that the feds are quietly pulling receipts on anyone too close to those bad boy freak-offs, French allegedly needed a plan B fast, and Dubai looked like paradise. But here's the twist. Paradise got shadows too. People who know Dubai's underbelly say it straight. Yes, the skyscrapers sparkle, the cars drip in diamonds, and the money flows like water. But some of those same royals, they've been accused for years of having appetites so wild they make Hollywood scandals look like Disney Channel reruns. The whispers about princes collecting pretty boys, flying out celebs from the West for shady business. That gossip ain't new, and it sure didn't pop up yesterday. So now when people see French, a man known for chasing big bags, wild parties, and cozying up to power, suddenly holding hands with a princess attached to a $7 billion safety net, the math feels way too convenient. Folks ain't saying he doesn't care about her, but they're saying survival might weigh heavier than love. And this is exactly why 50 Shades slices so deep. When he claims French got bought, he's not just talking about the engagement ring, he's talking about the idea that French traded one master for another, escaping Diddy's storm, only to end up locked in another system where he still has to follow the rules of men with endless power and zero accountability. The irony burns. French thought Dubai was his escape hatch, but if even half the stories about those princes are true, he might have walked straight out of Bad Boy's fire right into Dubai's furnace. And unlike the feds, who eventually cut deals or move on, Dubai royalty plays for keeps. That's why this so-called $7 billion escape plan doesn't look like salvation at all. It looks like another shiny trap. French might have bought himself some time, but the real question is, at what cost?
Collar comes out, like we said, and now you have real deals on the table. And out of all those, you go with Diddy.
That's not how it really went.
Was it Diddy? Was it Bad Boy MMG?
Yeah, I went to go see Ross. And Ross was like, I got an opportunity for you. I don't have the money for you, but I got the opportunity. I guess because the same thing Meek did, the same thing Wale did. I guess whatever the way the situation, his label was, he wasn't trying to give me the money I wanted. And I wanted like a whole bunch of money. But he was like, look, let's do it like this. Let's call Puff. Let's get him to give you the bag. You can still be MMG / you know what I'm saying? Bad Boy, Coke Boys, yep.
Right. How much money did you get?
$2 million.
Now let's spin it back, because you can't really understand French's jump to Dubai without first clocking how he even fell into Bad Boy's orbit in the first place. See, French Montana didn't just lock in that deal off one hit like Pop That and call it a career. Nah, the whole story around that signing always carried a funky smell, and with all the dirt that's poured out about Diddy these past 2 years, fans are now looking back with fresh eyes. Here's the part people forget. When French was shopping himself around, he wasn't some random mixtape kid begging for scraps. He had options on the table. Roc Nation came sniffing. Rick Ross and MMG showed serious love. Even Kanye's camp flirted with him heavy. And yet, out of all those power moves, French chose Diddy's table. So the question is, why would a man with multiple offers sign to the one label most infamous for shady contracts, backdoor deals, and extracurricular requirements that allegedly had nothing to do with music? Because Bad Boy wasn't just a label, it was a lifestyle. And for some artists, that lifestyle was the real currency. Whispers say Diddy didn't just offer French a check, he offered the wild access. The parties, the women, the freak-offs, the play nice and get rewarded situations. And fans been side-eyeing ever since. First, because French himself admitted he took less money up front than what Ross or Jay would have thrown him, but he still chose Puff. Second, because every time French was spotted stumbling out of those infamous villas looking drained, the internet clocked it. Photos and videos from 2016 through 2019 showed French looking worn out, and the timing always lined up with weekends Puff was celebrating him. That narrative only got nastier after Diddy's arrest in 2024, when producers and ex-associates started spilling what really went down to secure those deals. One producer even swore Puff blackballed him after he refused to join a freak-off. So of course, when people look back at French's fast rise, they say, oh, so you stayed and took that deal. We know what that means. Is there a signed receipt with French's name on it? No, but the circumstantial tea is boiling hot. Like Diddy gifting him a special Ciroc French vanilla flavor the very next day after they were allegedly together all night. Or that viral birthday video, Diddy in a robe, French shirtless, both looking super cozy, and French himself saying he wanted the big bag and Puff was the only one willing to hand it over in the industry. To the streets, it didn't look like a regular label signing. It looked like a man willing to pay a personal price for career elevation. And that's exactly why people now think He's running the same playbook in Dubai. Once you show you'll trade dignity for opportunity, folks assume you'll do it again, just with a bigger bag and a different master.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
So here's where the rabbit hole gets deep. In mid-2024, French Montana pulls up at Paris Fashion Week. Not just flexing a fresh fit, but allegedly showing off a whole fiancé. And not just any fiancé, Chiara, a straight-up princess tied to one of Dubai's ruling families. Baby, that ain't no regular Bronx love story. That's a power move on a global chessboard. See, at that exact time, the feds were stacking their case against Diddy like bricks. The freak-off tapes, the trafficking whispers, the money laundering angles, it was all heating up. Anybody tied to Puff's inner circle turned toxic overnight. Artists, assistants, producers, even random homies. Everybody was getting subpoenaed, questioned, or flat out grilled. And French, he wasn't just a casual friend. He was basically Diddy's shadow for years. The birthday trips, the champagne endorsements, the constant co-signs. If prosecutors wanted their case airtight, French's name was guaranteed to pop up. So what's his next move? He doesn't just dip out the country, he links himself to one of the wealthiest families in the Middle East. Reports say her Sheikh family is worth over $18 billion. That's oil money, empire money, money that doesn't blink when you throw around $7 billion like pocket change. And marrying into that doesn't just bring cash, it brings protection, status, and a new passport lane. It means residency in a place where outsiders don't get to dig too deep into royal business. That's why the streets are saying French ain't moving for love. He's moving for survival. They pointed how fast the engagement came together, how perfectly it lined up with the storm back in the States, and how French has been chilling more in Dubai than in New York or LA. To his fans, it looks like a whirlwind romance. To his critics, it looks like an escape plan dressed up in Cartier rings and diamond-stamped wedding vows. And the optics, wild. Every time French posts up with his princess, he looks polished, sharper, like he got reborn. But the comments stay messy. Boy, you traded in Diddy for Dubai, or the even harsher, better hope them sheiks don't treat you the same way Puff did. Because here's the gag, French really thinks he leveled up by running to Dubai. But people who know the history of how Middle Eastern royals flex their power will tell you the truth. Sometimes you don't escape the fire and you just walk straight into a hotter one.
I'll tell you what I actually learned. Yeah. A friend of mine is an air hostess and her friend was on a flight with her and her friend was eating like a very specific diet. So apparently the thing is, it's actually a control thing. I don't know if I can speak about sheikhs.
No, speak.
So these guys actually pay these women to hold a strict diet for like 2 weeks so that they can know that they are in complete control of what that woman is putting into her body and the girl is shit on them.
Wow.
So it's the girls aren't even getting shit on, the girls are shit on these guys because then the guys feel like it's sick, like it's a control thing. So then they know like, oh, you listened to me for 2 weeks.
Yeah, so that's probably their kink, that girls actually listen to them.
No 2-minute noodle.
Here's the part French probably don't want to hear. Running from Uncle Sam to the UAE doesn't always mean freedom. Sometimes it just means you signed a brand new kind of contract, one you might not ever be able to break. See, Dubai's image is all Lambos, glass towers, and pet tigers chilling on yachts. But the whispers, they've been ugly for years. Influencers flying wide-eyed, chasing that tax-free glam, then sneak back home spilling tea about palace parties where people weren't treated like guests but like props. Men and women both, allegedly, because some royals don't see outsiders as people. They see them as playthings. And once you step into that world, broke compared to their billions, you don't make the rules, they do. Now picture French Montana standing next to Sheikh Amara's family and their $18 billion fortune. He ain't powerful, he's ornamental. He's the shiny foreign celeb they can showcase, but with zero political pull to protect himself if things turn sour. Sheikh Amara is the daughter of one of the most feared autocrats of our modern era. French, he's just a famous outsider with a little clout in the States. That imbalance speaks volumes, and the internet already sees it. They're saying this move doesn't look like escaping Diddy. It looks like upgrading to new handlers. Same dynamic, just a bigger palace. Instead of freak-offs in Miami villas, now it's private Dubai estates with royals who play a whole different game. And let's not forget, Mara's family already got global eyes on them. Remember Sheikha Mara's viral Instagram divorce back in 2024? She stunned the world by dropping her husband with just 3 words, "I divorce you." In royal circles, that was unheard of. Admirable, yes, but also proof of how messy royal life can get behind the walls. Then you stack on her relatives, Princess Latifah's failed escape attempt, Princess Shamsa's alleged abduction, all supposedly tied back to their own father, the ruler of Dubai. And now that's French's new father-in-law. Suddenly that fairy tale glow don't shine so bright. When power that heavy moves against you, freedom ain't guaranteed. That's why the internet clowns this as French's $7 billion escape plan. On paper, it's smart. Marry obscene wealth, lock in residency, and hide behind a royal shield if the feds ever come knocking. Socially, it feels like deja vu. For years, people roasted French as Diddy's boy toy. The shirtless dinners, the birthday serenades, the Ciroc promotions, and now the gossip says he just swapped one sugar daddy for a whole dynasty of them. And here's the kicker, hip-hop always sold French as the underdog hustler, the Moroccan kid with Bronx grit, the Coke boy's pride. But Dubai royalty, they don't play like Bad Boy Records. You don't outshine them, you don't embarrass them, and you definitely don't outlive your usefulness. If even a piece of those whispers are true, French didn't break free from a velvet leash. He just traded it for a golden cage. So yeah, he dipped out of hot water in the States, but in Dubai, baby, he might be sitting right on top of the stove.
Table, and I'm sure there were some other ones also.
Yeah. I came to Steve Rifkin when I had Chopper Down. I walked in the office, it was him and Gabi. And Gabi was managing. I was like, yo, Steve, give me $200,000. Let me go make music. You know what I'm saying? Just let me. Steve was like, nah, I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you.
Never got it.
Never got it. I dropped.
Which is funny because Gabi's the president of SRC. Steve is like the CEO, but
so I don't know what type of
but
weird.
Steve makes the final call.
Yeah. So I asked for $200,000. You know what I'm saying? And it's like.
Now here's the real gag in all this chaos. The loudest voice clowning French is none other than 50 Cent. But sit with that for a second. What if 50 ain't just trolling? What if he's really trying to warn him? Cause you know 50 got that big brother energy, the type who'll roast you non-stop, but deep down still want you to eat. Yeah, he's been shading French for years, calling him washed, calling him a Diddy leftover. But maybe, just maybe, he sees the trap French is walking into. A trap that doesn't come with chains, but feels just like them velvet cages folks whisper about in Dubai. But flip it, what if this don't even feel like a trap to French at all? We look at him like, damn bro, you sold your soul for protection. But maybe this is exactly what he wanted. Some people chase freedom, others chase comfort. French might not see himself as a prisoner inside some palace. He might see himself as the chosen one, the Bronx kid who grinded mixtapes and ended up with gold-plated security. We might call it hell, but for him, it could feel like heaven with AC, chefs on deck, and a driver at his command. That's why 50's jabs sting so much, because deep down they carry truth. 50 built his whole empire on independence, on owning his name, on flipping street credibility into boardroom power. French, on the other hand, might have flipped survival into servitude, but here's the kicker. Who's really winning? The man still fighting for respect in rap, or the man sipping tea behind palace walls, scandal-proof, untouchable, and locked in with a $7 billion insurance policy? It's messy, it's ironic, and it's the paradox French is living right now. To us, he looks like property. To him, he might feel like royalty, and maybe that's the biggest twist of all. 50 Cent can drag him all day, but French Montana might just be smiling, because this was the plan all along. So what do you think? Did French level up or lock himself down? Drop your thoughts below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment, and I'll see you on the next one.
I love you, I'm in love with you. I don't give a fuck how many times we get it, we bump heads. That's real. You make me mad. I'm in love with you. Don't down with me.
Big Boogie just dropped a bombshell. He slipped up and let it out that C-Money might have been sacrificed. And who did he aim the blame at? His own label boss, Yo Gotti. Boogie made it clear he's done playing the loyal soldier.
How I feel right now? 100%. I don't fuck with nobody. And I'm finna make everybody regret playing with me. That's all I gotta.
For CMG and Gotti, and he's ready to tell it all with no filter. He spilled that the real reason C Money never got the shine he deserved wasn't random at all. It was connected to who would benefit the most from his death. That revelation cut deep because it wasn't just about music anymore. It was about life, power, and survival in Memphis. Boogie didn't just air out CMG's dirty laundry. He lit the match that could set the whole label on fire. Now the streets are buzzing with one loud message. CMG's empire is shaking, and Boogie has no plans of going down with the ship. Fans are left with heavy questions hanging in the air. Was C Money's tragic death just another Memphis street hit, or the coldest backstab pulled off inside CMG itself? What lit the fuse on all this drama was a video Big Boogie dropped on his socials. It wasn't long, but it packed a punch. He came on talking about making somebody regret playing with him. No smiles, no games, just raw tension in his voice. The clip was super short, barely a few seconds, and he didn't even show his face, but that made it even more intense.
Dealing with them Texas boys, them folk got hit up. Them folk got hit up everywhere you go to, like the Fed watching it. You know what I'm talking about? He signed that boy right here, that boy ended up going to jail. So they watching that boy so close right now because they you know what I'm talking about, the cases.
Viewers could feel the anger dripping through the screen like he was warning someone directly without having to call their name. It wasn't random talk. It was a clear message aimed at whoever had crossed him, and the streets caught on fast. At first, fans were lost trying to figure out what Big Boogie was hinting at, but things started to click when he followed up with another cryptic IG story that shook everybody. He wrote, "I'm focusing on my daughter, myself, and my career. I ain't letting nobody get in my way. It's gonna be 2026. I'm changing day by day as a man. People barely ask me about my mental. I barely even talk to anybody now. I don't care to. Everybody that ever played with me before made me this way. Today I'm focused because I see a bigger picture of my own life, numb and grinding." He didn't have to drop names. No Yo Gotti, no C Money, but the shade, it was screaming loud. Fans instantly tied it back, knowing this wasn't just random venting. Before Boogie's post, people were already whispering that C Money's death wasn't some random shootout. It looked too surgical, too targeted. And when Boogie admitted he was numb and didn't care anymore, many took it as the final clue that blew the whole situation wide open. For context, Fast Cash C Money was killed in a shootout in Memphis's Fraser neighborhood. At first, the story fit the usual narrative, another senseless tragedy in the city. But then raw, uncut footage hit the internet and everything flipped. What seemed like chaos suddenly looked staged, like a straight-up planned hit. That's all it took for fans to start digging, and the deeper they went, the stranger it got. Word spread that C Money actually felt something was coming weeks before his death. He didn't want to leave his family stranded, so he was rushing to lock in a deal with Yo Gotti's CMG and secure a future. But there was another twist. Sources say C Money also took out a life insurance policy to make sure his girlfriend and kids were covered. In Memphis, with all the smoke around CMG, that wasn't shocking. But what left people stunned was what happened after he died.
August, you know what I'm talking about? I talked to Govan. I did an interview with Hernandez Govan, the dude who set the whole, supposedly, you know what I'm saying, Dolph murder up.
His girlfriend Kaya still had to set up a GoFundMe to cover funeral costs and take care of the kids. She dropped a link in a Facebook tribute where she wrote, "Courtney taught me so much, so happy we got to love on each other. You took my heart with you for real. All I can do is play your music to hear your voice." Fans were shocked to their core because C Money was never the type to leave his family hanging. If the whispers were true, he had already laid out plans to keep them safe and secure. Things really heated up when a leaked document from his CMG contract went viral on Reddit, showing he was supposed to receive a payout after his death, but that money gone without a trace. People expected Yo Gotti to step in and help C Money's loved ones. After all, repping CMG made C Money a target in the first place, but Gotti stayed silent. No posts, no tribute, no visits, no financial help, nothing at all. That silence hit harder than words, pushing suspicions that maybe Gotti had sacrificed C Money for money and left his family stranded with nothing. The wild part, C Money had literally signed with CMG just one day before he was killed. The footage shows him celebrating with friends when a car pulled up and sprayed the spot with bullets. According to police reports, several homes were hit during the shooting, yet somehow only C Money ended up dead. Was that random, or was the chaos just cover for a calculated hit? C Money was already making noise before linking with Yo Gotti, and that CMG deal was supposed to launch him to the next level. But behind the scenes, tension was building fast. C Money wanted sit-downs, business plans, and rollout schedules, while Gotti treated it like it wasn't serious at all. Anybody who knows Memphis street politics understands the deep tension between Gotti's CMG camp and Young Dolph's PRE crew. After Dolph's murder, plenty of eyes locked onto Gotti and his brother Big Jook. Whispers claimed Jook himself might have called the shot. When Hernandez Govan, a known associate of Jook, got arrested, the speculation only got louder. And when Jook later ended up dead in a similar fashion, some called it karma, while others swore it was revenge. Through it all, Yo Gotti ran CMG like a straight-up mob boss, demanding loyalty, setting the rules, and punishing anyone who crossed the line. For years, artists like Glorilla, 42 Doug, Moneybag Yo, and Black Youngsta played along, but after Dolph's death, that tough guy mob boss image stopped being power and started looking poisonous. One by one, CMG's roster started slipping away until only Glorilla was left holding the label afloat. But that was nowhere near the empire Yo Gotti had pictured for himself. So he switched gears, posting less, reshaping contracts, moving like a ghost in the industry. Quietly, he started trimming anyone who didn't follow his blueprint. Look at Black Youngsta, once Gotti's most loyal soldier, his right hand in the streets. But as Gotti shifted direction, Youngsta went from being an asset to a liability. That's when Gotti started looking for fresh blood to prop up CMG, and that's where C Money entered the picture. But here's the catch. Gotti never saw C Money as the next big star. He saw him as a way out, a chess move in his escape plan. And by the time C Money realized it, the clock had already run out. The news of his death crushed Big Boogie. In his first post, he let his pain spill out, writing, "C Money Smith, Jesus brother, I'm hurt to my heart, my favorite rapper from day one. I'm hurt about you, boy." Boogie didn't just mourn, he collapsed under the weight of it all. He even canceled his own Memphis birthday bash, saying, "I'm straight on Memphis, birthday bash canceled. You guys lame forever." He tagged C Money and dropped crying emojis, a raw show of grief. To outsiders, it looked like the sadness of a friend, but insiders read between the lines. Boogie was backing away to avoid another storm of violence. Fans even praised him, saying that decision might have saved lives, but he couldn't stay silent forever. Boogie kept posting cryptic words like, "Everybody gonna regret what they did and said, watch this. Going silent is my final warning." At first, people brushed it off, but after C Money's killing, then Gotti's cold silence, those posts started sounding less like venting and more like chilling warnings. Then came Stan G's explosive interview on No Jumper. He told Black Youngsta and the whole CMG camp to stay alert because, in his words, Yo Gotti has no issue cutting people off, not just from the label, but from life itself. That warning hit different. It cut deep, especially with the crew still mourning C Money. Suddenly, the spotlight wasn't on Yo Gotti anymore. It was on Big Boogie, the only one bold enough to keep dropping hints and demanding answers while everybody else stayed quiet. But here's the chilling part. If Gotti really had something to do with C Money's death, then what makes Boogie untouchable? His silence doesn't mean safety. It feels more like a ticking countdown. And the darkest thought haunting fans is this: if Gotti could already move like that once, what's stopping him from doing it again? Every move, every post, every cryptic line from Boogie has people wondering if he's warning the world or warning himself. The streets are watching closely because this story is far from over. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, and drop a comment, and I'll catch you on the next one.
What happened to your clothes?
What happened to my clothes?
Yeah, the bloody clothes.
We had changed down in 2-line apartments.
Where'd you get the clothes?
We got them 2-line apartments.
Like from who?
whoever they was. I don't know they good.
So they just had something to fit your size to wear those clothes?
Yeah, you see, when we went in and we came out, you see, before Angela pulled up, we had on different clothes when we came out.
Okay.
You see that on the video.
You mentioned during your testimony that you actually never communicated with Jook, is that right?
No, I never communicated. Well, I did, to be honest with you. I get ahead, like, after they found the car, whatever, and, man, I wasn't talking to Justin or him. So I had inboxed him on one. Well, so I forgot what it was. And I'm like, man, I'm Govan homeboy, man. You need to holler at you, girl. I'm trying to get my money. You know what I'm saying?
The city's on edge right now because Young Dolph's last murder suspect trial just kicked off and the chaos hit before the case even started. Soon as he walked into that courtroom, everyone saw it. A swollen black eye, like somebody had put hands on him right before he showed up in front of the judge. It didn't look random either, more like a message, a warning shot, like somebody was trying to scare him into silence before he could open his mouth. Whispers started flying instantly, with folks saying it might have even been an attempt on Hernandez Govan's life. Because let's be real, there are way too many powerful names that don't want him talking. When opening arguments began, prosecutors wasted no time dropping bombs. They threw Yo Gotti and CMG into the fire again and again, not once, not twice, but 27 times on the very first day. They made sure the jury understood this wasn't just about rap beef or music industry drama. This was painted as a straight-up street war that finally landed in a courtroom. The way they repeated those names so heavy you could feel the setup, like the state's already building the road to a bigger indictment, one that could have Yo Gotti's signature all over it. And the prosecution wasn't done flexing. First day they pulled out Cornelius Smith and he let it all spill. He told the court plain and simple that Hernandez Govan was the one who handed him the murder weapon.
You and Bobby did the first shooting of Wu when you guys had a shootout with Mr. Wu, is that correct?
Yeah, me, Bobby, Justin, and we got, Mr. Govan gave me his gun.
Okay.
Gun.
So now Govan gave you the gun. I understand that. Was Treon Ingram also there for that shooting?
I don't know none of them folks. I don't know none of them.
Not just that, Govan laid out the rules, telling them to mask up and cover their faces before making a move on Dolph. The way Cornelius told it, the hit wasn't sloppy. It was planned out with precision before they even stepped outside. But here's the part that shook the room. Cornelius admitted they weren't even looking for Dolph at first. They were hunting anybody tied to PRE. But then fate put Dolph right in their path. And the reason? His car gave him away. That camo-wrapped ride that everybody knew became a flashing target the second they spotted it. In that moment, the plan shifted, and Dolph was locked in as the hit. And that's the cold lesson here. Stop painting your rides in loud colors and blasting them online like trophies. It makes you an easy target, and sadly, that was Dolph's first slip, giving his enemies a neon arrow straight to him. Cornelius laid it all out, breaking down how the setup went behind closed doors. He told the court that he met face-to-face with Big Jook right at Govan's house. No phones, no texts, nothing that could be traced.
How many people were there all together at the first shooting of Wu?
At the shooting?
At the shooting.
At the house of Mr. Govan house.
Okay, let's try this again. You went with Bobby Carter and you said Justin was already there.
We all met up at Mr. Govan house. Okay. And me and Bobby jumped in one vehicle, and Justin and another guy was in another vehicle.
All right.
Big Jook was old school about it, making sure every word stayed off the record. That's when the real plan started to take shape. According to Cornelius, the bounty on Dolph's head was set at $100,000. Cold, hard cash. And the shooters, they were already promised their slice. That gold van they pulled up in, part of the arrangement. Each shooter was supposed to walk away with 10 grand, 20 bands total for carrying out the job. But here's where things start looking shady. After listening to how Cornelius explained it, it really sounds like Big Jook slid money Govan's way, but when it came time to pay up, something went sideways.
Did you ever text Mr. Jook at all during the course of all this?
That's what I was saying on the website, like on Instagram or Facebook, something like that. I forgot what it was. I ain't have his number personally. I could not contact him, like call his phone and say, Jook, where my money? No, I couldn't do that.
Either Govan shorted the shooters or flat out ran off with part of the bag. That's where the whispers of betrayal start creeping in, cash moving one way, disappearing the next, and that's why this case is so tangled. It's not just about Dolph's murder, it's about the double crosses, the shady deals, and who pocketed what behind the scenes. When the feds locked in and the story blew up on the news, everything went into high gear. Cameras lined up, reporters camping outside, the whole city tuned in. And Cornelius, man, he turned the courtroom into a kitchen. First he grilled Justin Johnson, putting him on blast with every detail. And now he's slow cooking Hernandez Govan, letting every word smoke out like barbecue, roasting him inch by inch. He basically told the room, I'm not doing time for you, especially when I never even saw the money. I ain't get what I was promised, not even enough to cover my own pills. You could hear the venom in his voice. He's done carrying weight for people who left him broke and hanging.
And the reason I ask is you didn't want to give up anything or do anything, but earlier, when you first met Jook, you said Mr. Govan introduced you as Little C, the guy done the shooting of Wu, so we already knew you were a shooter. So why would we need all the cloak and dagger if you're trying to reach out to Jook?
Nah, because look, this how it went, man. After the shooting or whatever, after they discovered the car or whatever, Justin had got with me and was like, man, look, man, Jook saying that he'll get with us on his own terms or whatever, and don't trust Govan or nothing like that right now. You know what I'm saying? He was like, so in my eyes, there was so many crosses, you know what I'm saying? Like Justin had ran out with the cake or whatever, and I couldn't trust him. I couldn't trust nobody, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, man, I'm gonna take initiative on my own and hit Jook up on his little, I forgot it was Instagram or something, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, man, this Govan homeboy, you know what I'm saying? Like, he'll get up with you. Really, I need my money.
All day long, Yo Gotti's name echoed through that courtroom like a drum beat, over and over. Yo Gotti this, CMG that. The repetition was impossible to ignore. It wasn't casual either. It felt intentional, like the prosecutors were drilling it into the jury's heads on purpose. And when a name gets tossed around that many times in federal court, it doesn't sound like coincidence. It sounds like the warm-up before the real strike. The way they framed it, you could almost mark it down. Within days, the feds might come through with an arrest warrant. That's how tight and calculated the setup felt. The state isn't just walking the jury through a murder case. They're painting a cinematic picture. They're framing it like a rap beef gone nuclear, echoing the old Tupac and Biggie tragedy, only this one allegedly got bankrolled straight out of CMG's pockets. They're saying Dolph wasn't just another victim, but the target of an organized execution tied to the label's top dog. And prosecutors don't toss words like that around for entertainment. They plant those images early so jurors can't shake them, no matter what defense gets thrown later. And then there's Cornelius Smith on the stand. He's not testifying like a cautious man. He's unloading like an author dropping chapters of a tell-all in real time. Every sentence cuts deeper, spilling details with no hesitation. He's done protecting anybody's reputation, done with the street code. His only hustle left is trading truth for mercy, and you could hear it in every word. Meanwhile, all eyes kept sliding to Govan, and man, his body language told its own story. Nervous energy all over him, shifting in his chair, sweating heavy, biting down on his lip like he's replaying every move that led him here. You could almost see the calculation in his face. Is it time to crack? Is tossing Yo Gotti's name his only exit? That's the crossroad he's standing at. When you're boxed in like that, there's only two choices. Stay loyal and sink, or flip and try to save yourself. And the way he looked, loyalty didn't seem like the path he was leaning on. That's the real suspense in the room right now. His ties to Yo Gotti and Big Jook, that so-called brotherhood, is showing cracks for the first time. Everyone's waiting for that moment when Govan takes the stand. Will he fold, or will he keep his lips sealed? But honestly, the way the prosecutors are moving, silence don't look like an option anymore. They're already waving receipts, and the jury's watching every twitch like it's part of the show. The prosecutors turned the heat up even higher by flashing photos in front of the jury. Hernandez Govan standing shoulder to shoulder with Yo Gotti's own brother. Let that image sink in. They didn't just talk about connections, they showed them. The message was loud and clear. These men aren't strangers, they ain't distant associates, they're right there together. And once a jury sees that kind of picture, you can't erase it from their minds, it sticks like glue. That's why this case don't feel like a normal trial. It feels like something bigger moving under the surface. Politics in motion, chess pieces shifting while the courtroom is just the stage. This ain't just about the shooters pulling triggers on Dolph. It's about who bankrolled the hit, who gave the green light, and who's gonna crumble once the truth starts unraveling. And then there's the biggest shadow hanging over all this. Somebody took Jook out. That wasn't a random act, that was surgical, calculated. Whoever made that move understood exactly how much Jook's presence could tilt the entire trial. If he was alive to testify, he could have cleared Yo Gotti's name, or at least given him cover. But with Jook gone, the defense lost its strongest shield. So the question that keeps bouncing around, did Yo Gotti make that call on his own brother to protect himself? Or was it Cornelius Smith, maybe even Justin Johnson, deciding to silence Jook because he never delivered, never kept his promises about the money? That's the whisper floating heavy in the air, even if nobody dares say it outright. Meanwhile, the state keeps pressing. They're digging, scratching, desperate to find a paper trail with Yo Gotti's name stamped on it. Something undeniable that ties him directly to Dolph's murder. That's why they keep looping back to the history. Every past attempt, every rumor, every time Gotti's name got tied to moves on Dolph before the final hit went down. Prosecutors are weaving it all together, thread by thread, pulling in every old shootout, every clash between PRE and CMG. And the way they're stacking it, Gotti don't look like a bystander. He's being painted as the mastermind pulling the strings. The vibe in court feels like a pot left on low heat, bubbling slow, filling the air with smoke before the fire even hits the room. And that's the exact effect the state wants, to make sure the jury smells guilt long before they're asked to deliver a verdict. If Young Dolph's brother hadn't been caught up for just those few seconds, maybe on the phone, maybe distracted by the order, things might have flipped completely. With just a little more time to react, he could have let that whole clip fly and dropped both shooters right there in the shop. And the wild part, even caught off guard, he still fired back and he hit both of them. That right there proves he was sharp, locked in, ready to defend. He just didn't get the window he needed to save his brother's life, but that's the kind of pain a man carries forever. Imagine watching your brother slip away in front of you, knowing your hands pulled the trigger fast, but not fast enough. That guilt cuts deeper than anything, and it never fades. It scars your soul. You can see it in how he moves, how he carries himself. The trauma stays, and it don't just vanish. But real talk, Yo Gotti, salute him. In the middle of pure chaos, he still stood tall and tried to protect his bloodline. That's courage and that's love. And now here's where things get heavy. Both the streets and the courtroom are chasing the same thing, justice for Young Dolph. His name still echoes through Memphis, through hip hop, through every person that loved him. But the real question is, will justice actually be clean? Or will it get twisted up in politics and backroom power plays? Watching this trial unfold, it feels like there's way more going on beneath the surface than anyone wants to admit. You can feel it brewing. The feds and the state stacking their moves like dominoes, lining up the pieces for something much bigger. An indictment is in the air, no doubt about it. The only mystery left is whose name is going to be stamped bold at the very top when the papers finally drop. So drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think justice is really coming, or is this whole thing going to get covered up? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you on the next one.
Rick Ross knew perfectly damn well what he was doing and what that would lead to.
Doing right now, my shoulder broke, but we still getting to the money. We still count paper. This ain't a pump and dump, baby.
Rick Ross just pulled one of the slickest moves on Big Meech, and word is Meech wasn't having it. He pressed him about it. 50 Cent wasted no time clowning the whole situation, making it even messier. But here's the crazy part. Everyone saw this play coming from a mile away, everyone except Meech himself. Now the internet can't get enough, treating it like the finale of some blockbuster reality show. But let's keep it real. What did Meech expect going head to head with somebody who once worked ties to law enforcement? This whole saga is about to get even wilder. Ever since Rick Ross threw him under the bus, 50 Cent been firing off heavy subliminals aimed at both Big Meech and Lil Meech all over social media. And the craziest part, the second Big Meech touched down after prison just months ago, instead of moving quiet, he popped out chilling with Rick Ross, like Ross was his day one lifeline. Knowing Ross been beefing with 50 for years, Meech still chose to post up with him instead of showing respect to the man who actually held his name up all this time. Big Meech out here cheesing in pictures with Rose, moving like Ross been holding him down for the last 2 decades. That had to sting 50 like a dagger to the chest, even if he never expected Meech to treat Ross like a sworn enemy. And then Lil Meech jumps in, talking real power, clearly poking at 50. While Big Meech doubled down by linking with Floyd Mayweather, twisting the blade deeper and making the whole situation even colder. Yeah, Meech's name might have helped 50 make tens of millions, but at least 50 actually built something solid out of it. Meanwhile, Ross playing his hand like a slick hustler, moving for clout, soaking up attention, boosting his ego, and setting the stage for pure chaos. By the time people started realizing how crazy this was getting, Ross was already slipping out the back, leaving everybody else to deal with the smoke. People say Rick Ross kept Big Meech at a distance because of that shoulder injury. Nah, that was just a slick excuse. The truth? Ross was dodging the backlash, flipping the script while running that shady token crypto hustle on the same fans who once rode for him. After burning everybody who trusted him with their bread, the internet renamed him Rug Ross. And the nickname stuck. And let's not forget, he conveniently busted his shoulder just days after lying to Big Meech and getting called out publicly. Coincidence? Most don't think so. Ross hit the ground hard for real, but he wasn't stupid. He quietly dumped most of those tokens, held onto a couple just to cash out, and flipped the money into his real estate empire. Meanwhile, Big Meech got stuck in the smoke, looking like his comeback lane was completely blocked by Ross's games. Instead of regaining control, Meech kept making bad decisions, and the internet didn't let him slide one bit. Now Lil Meech catching strays too. Folks clowning Big Meech over how fast that so-called friendship with Ross crashed out, and one of the loudest voices stirring the pot is Michael Rubin Jr. He didn't bite his tongue. Straight up said he don't feel sorry for Lil Meech or Big Meech, cause they're both grown men who should have seen it coming. And 50? He's doubling down in his own corner of the internet, making sure nobody forgets how wild this fallout really is.
Do I feel bad for Lil Meech? I don't feel bad for no grown man on this planet. Like, I'm a grown man. Why the fuck I gotta feel bad for another grown man? Like, you a grown man too, nigga. You asking for my sympathy for it, nigga. You be alright. Oh, yeah, nigga.
Everybody already knows 50 Cent don't play when it comes to personal beefs. Once you cross him, it's not just smoke, it's full-on war. He'll drag it out, flip the tables, and keep pressing until he proves his point, no matter the cost. Even DJ Vlad had to co-sign it, saying straight up that 50 is the last dude you ever want to test, because he'll tear the whole house down just to make sure his message lands loud and clear.
You know, he'll cancel BMF to prove a point. Regardless of how much money he makes.
Rick Ross been leaving folks stranded long before Big Meech. Meech ain't the first victim of his slick ways. Word is he once pulled the same cold stunt on his own crew in Canada. Left them to get jumped, then slid back later talking like he was testing their strength. That's not loyalty, that's straight ruthless. But if we're keeping it real, Ross been moving shady from the very beginning. None of this should be a surprise. He's been running the same playbook for years, always putting himself first while the people around him take the hits, and he ain't blind. Ross saw this whole drama brewing from a mile away, especially once Whack 100 started calling him out publicly. At this point, some folks see Ross as the real villain in the mess between 50 Cent and Big Meech, the one pulling strings, playing angles, and keeping the chaos alive.
Rick Ross knew perfectly damn well
what he was doing and what that would lead to.
Big Meech never had a real friend in Rick Ross from the start. Ross knew exactly what play he was running. He gassed Meech up, talking about stacking money, helping him get back on his feet, and parading him around like they were tight. But low-key, he was turning Meech against 50 Cent the whole time. In the end, it was just slick talk with no loyalty behind it. Whack 100 wasn't lying either. If Ross really cared about Meech's comeback, he would have kept everything quiet and handled business in the shadows. Instead, Ross went public, throwing shade at 50, running his mouth and pushing narratives he knew he couldn't back up, like acting as if he could ever lock down the rights to the BMF series. Now, Ross dead silent on Meech, all that hype gone, and he's only pushing moves that fill his own pockets. Meech clearly ain't part of that plan anymore. Word on the street says Ross was the real reason Meech's Welcome Home benefit show got canceled. But somehow people got tricked into thinking 50 pulled the plug. The truth? Ross didn't want Meech making a strong comeback and eating off that event. He wanted him quiet, stuck in the background, while Ross played good guy in public. Meanwhile, 50 even had to post and delete saying, "I had nothing to do with this. Please stop calling my phone. I sincerely hope you have a nice day today. Happy Valentine's Day. I'm stronger than you think I am." That right there showed just how twisted the whole situation had gotten. And when you look at Ross's history, it all makes sense. That BMF track had Big Meech convinced Ross was riding for him. But what if the truth is darker? What if Ross's real goal all along was to become Big Meech in the eyes of the culture? Think about it. Ross has a long history of using other people's names to boost his brand, especially street heavyweights. That's not even up for debate. His whole rap identity came from the real Rick Ross, a legendary figure who was locked up at the time. And the second the real Ross came home, he called him out straight to his face and even tried to sue him over it.
Feel about the rapper Rick Ross having the same name?
Well, the fact that he stole my name, not that we had the same name, he actually stole my whole story, my identity, the whole thing. Mm-hmm. You know, he built his career off of my legacy.
This all kicked off back in 2005, and by 2010, the real Rick Ross, the man who ran one of the biggest operations in the 80s, hit the rapper Ross with a lawsuit for trademark infringement and identity theft. But in 2013, a judge actually sided with the rapper after Rose claimed the name was just a persona he created. The courts let him slide, and the rapper walked away still wearing the identity that was never his to begin with. From there, Ross played the same game over and over, making it look like he had people's backs, only to switch up when it suited him. He cozied up to Big Meech, just like he did with Larry Hoover in 2021. Hoover, a real street legend still locked up, became another name Ross dropped in his music, profiting off the reputation while never truly putting in work to help him or his people. Fans dragged him for it, and rightfully so. Ross was out here chasing clout and stacking bread off names that carried real weight in the streets, but he never moved with the loyalty those names stood for. And that's exactly why 50 Cent never gave him respect as a man, because when someone can flip on you anytime, how can you ever take them serious?
Career that you'd have any respect for?
Oh, no, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. I never wanted to work with him.
Let's just say 50 Cent is probably grinning ear to ear right now, watching all this chaos unfold without even lifting a finger. While Ross and Meech are stuck in the drama, 50 been stacking paperwork, lining up new business moves, and plotting his next big plays. Meanwhile, Big Meech and Lil Meech look like they scrambling, bouncing from celeb to celeb, supposedly begging for breaks just to keep their names alive. And here's the kicker. Ross had the nerve to clown 50, calling him broke and mocking him for not landing that loan to launch his own film company. But plot twist. Just days ago, that loan officially cleared. Now it's crystal clear. 50 really is the one dude you don't want to cross in this game. He stays patient, lets the smoke build, then shows receipts when it counts most. What makes it even funnier? Ross was out here bragging not long ago about buying 50's masters, flexing like he scored the ultimate win. But now, with 50's moves lining up perfectly, fans swear Ross somewhere punching the air, because looking back, that flex sounds flat out ridiculous.
I buy your masters. You better. I will buy your masters.
Even though it's way too late for 50 to step in and save Big Meech now, or pull Lil Meech back into his corner, it's clear some heavy lessons just got learned. Zip with the drip, who been saying from the jump that 50 was the only one keeping it real about Meech, had a lot to say once this all unfolded. He warned early on that things were bound to get complicated and that Rick Ross would eventually flip on Big Meech. And now here we are exactly in that spot. Fans been debating nonstop, and the majority believe Meech might really be finished with the industry since his one major chance at a comeback got derailed. But truth be told, some see it differently. This might just be the start of a new chapter. One user even summed it up perfectly. Let me get this straight. A former corrections officer flip-flopping on somebody who was in prison, who couldn't see that coming. And then a two-faced dude getting done over by another two-faced dude. There's a word for that. It's called karma. And honestly, that karma feels like it just came fresh out the oven. But now I want to know what you think. Do you see Big Meech plotting his payback on Rick Ross? Or is this story already over? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're rocking with this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next wild update. See you on the next one.
You know, and you see things like the white party be there, and then they have Lil Baby like in a sandwich. Like they're hugging him from the front and the back and stuff.
Baby is absolutely one of the best human beings in the planet. All right, we're at a party, everyone's drunk. You know, it's a 13-hour party. People drink a lot of alcohol.
But it's 100 people at the party. We in the middle of 100 people. There's nothing weird we could be doing in a party.
Right.
Ever since that Rubin party, that ain't my boy no more. They got him. That's straight from 50 Cent talking about the viral clip of Lil Baby flexing his new thigh tattoos while rocking a tank top and a flashy pink belt. Laughing, he's got a whole theory on why Baby switched up.
50 Cent is trying to separate himself from the industry, like he doesn't have to party with them. You guys have to understand, they had a party with men walking around with their butt cheeks out, like Keke Palmer.
He's claiming Lil Baby hasn't been the same since that Michael Rubin white party out in the Hamptons. The one where he got hugged from behind in a moment that had people talking for days. According to 50, this isn't about fashion choices or some random tattoo decision. He's hinting it's part of a so-called humiliation ritual.
Mike.
Man, Mike.
I'm gonna come hug you right now. I'm coming to hug you. Big hug. Get everyone to love each other.
The kind rappers supposedly go through to keep their name hot and stay on top of the game. But that raises the big questions. What really went down at that white party? Who exactly is Michael Rubin, and why does he keep surrounding himself with young rap stars?
I hear that you say that you don't have any tattoos at all.
Nope. That was really my only reason, like, from being younger. Like, I don't want no tattoos. I know I'm gonna have something to do when I get older.
Yes, sir.
With my money, and I don't want to be like a thug.
Before we get to all that, here's why Lil Baby's trending again, and not in a good way. He just stepped out with fresh ink, and while tattoos aren't unusual in the rap game, what's throwing everyone off is the location. This is his first tattoo ever, and he put it right on his thighs. That's a big shift for someone who's told interviewers multiple times before that he'd never get tatted up.
I done lost everything, I never lost myself.
So we just gonna let this nigga do this. We finna let Lil Baby come out here in his booty coochie shorts and just pop out with his hand in his mother slit and just, yeah, that's just what we doing.
Fast forward to 2025, and Lil Baby just dropped a surprise move that's got everyone talking again. He went and got 90s on one thigh and Baby on the other, bold as ever. He hopped on Instagram with the caption, "Back in that mode," posting a series of pics, rocking shorts, letting those fresh letters take center stage.
That's why I don't be going to them puffy parties. Hug you from the front and the back at the same time. What are you talking about? Look, if you're into that, I'm fine with it. To each his own. I'm just saying, my mother on the party.
And that's not all. Running down the side of his lower left leg, there's a huge CBFW tattoo, first spotted when he posted it on July 4th. but you can probably guess how the fans reacted. Comments started flooding in with stuff like humiliation ritual. I'm sorry, you let them get to you, and the industry got a hold on my boy. One person even begged, lay off them shorts. It didn't stop there, because the internet turned up when a video went viral of Lil Baby performing in those same shorts, tank top, and that now iconic pink belt. And instead of hiding the ink, he kept pulling his shorts up, making sure the crowd caught every glimpse of those thigh tattoos. The comment section, ruthless. People were claiming 50 Cent's been right from the start. Ever since that all-white bash at Mike Rubin's mansion, Baby's been different. One person wrote, Michael Rubin already showed y'all that Lil Baby was his boy while y'all acting surprised. Another threw shade saying, bunny hops and hugs from the back from a white little guy with money. This generation lost. So now everyone's asking, what really happened at that party? Why did 50 Cent warn Baby about getting too close to Rubin? Here's the backstory. It all went down in 2023 when Rubin hosted that ultra-exclusive white party in the Hamptons. We're talking a guest list stacked with Jay-Z, Beyonce, Tom Brady, Kim Kardashian, and yes, Lil Baby. That's where the infamous photo hit the internet. Baby caught in a hug sandwich between Michael Rubin and NBA star Kyle Kuzma. 50 Cent even posted the pic on his Instagram with a caption that had people's jaws on the floor. 50 Cent didn't just post the hug photo, he came with heat in the caption. See, this is why I don't go to no party Puffy and them at. The F is going on here, he wrote before adding, get the F off of my young man. Not long after, another shot from that same night went viral. Michael Rubin straight up hugging Lil Baby from behind.
Baby is absolutely one of the best human beings in the planet. Anything, he's just such a great human being. And like, I love his work ethic. And also like when you hear his story, and I don't know anything about music. So when I met him the first time with Drake in the Bahamas in 2020, and he's telling me his story about, he was in jail a couple years earlier. He never rapped. And now he's got this great, kind of music career. Like you just want to root for the guy. And I'll tell you something, I've never actually said this before. The stuff of the drug was the most ridiculous thing in the world, right? We're at a party, everyone's drunk. It's a 13-hour party. People drink a lot of alcohol. Someone captures a picture of me jumping on his back for 1 second and then says, oh, there's something suspect about it. It's just these drunken guys. By the way, before cameras, we've all done it. Like, let's keep it real. By the way, you love WWE. You've done it more than anybody.
He's rolled around with people in their skivvies.
Right, yeah, exactly. By the way, I haven't gone there. But, the thing that actually killed me about that is it actually hurt his career. Last year. And I felt like I've always wanted to help people make
he's on a good build back.
He's
right
crushing
now.
now.
He's crushing.
And
He's
I was just with him with Trav and him in London. But actually, like, the thing is, he's such an extraordinary human being and he's such a special person. And like, if you think about, people who just want to hate on social media, who like one picture of, a bunch of drunken people could be turned into something that it wasn't.
And if that wasn't enough, Baby later posted a clip of himself flying on a private jet and sitting right next to Rubin. Now, sure, some fans brushed it off saying 50 was just trolling for laughs. But others, they've been side-eyeing these industry parties for years. People online claim they give off secret initiation vibes, like a test up-and-coming rappers gotta pass to move up the ranks in the game. Apparently, all the jokes and speculation hit a nerve because Lil Baby finally clapped back. On Lil Yachty's podcast, he admitted all those memes about him, and Rubin bothered him so much, he actually asked Rubin for the security footage from that night to prove nothing shady went down.
Count out loud. Out loud.
9, 40, 42.
Keep going. Keep going.
7, 8, 1, 2.
Keep going. Keep going. Don't cheat on your buddy hops. They suck. Your buddy hops.
But here's the twist. Even after getting the footage, Baby didn't post it. Still, he made it clear he wasn't mad at Rubin at all. In fact, Baby called him a super great influence in his life. Though when pressed, he couldn't exactly explain how Rubin had influenced him. And Rubin, he had his own version of events. In an interview last year, he laughed the whole thing off, calling the internet drama ridiculous. According to him, nothing weird happened. Just a bunch of people enjoying drinks and celebrating. But here's where it got people talking again. The way Rubin went on and on about Lil Baby almost sounded like he was low-key crushing on him. Plenty of folks still swear there's something off about Michael Rubin and the way he clings to young rappers. And here's the thing, he's not even in the music game. And it's not just Lil Baby catching attention. Remember that viral clip of Meek Mill bunny hopping for Rubin on a tennis court? Sure, Meek later brushed it off saying he just lost a friendly bet to Rubin over a tennis match. But let's keep it real. The image of a white billionaire making a famous black rapper hop like a bunny while shouting directions. The optics were wild and the internet was not feeling it. So who exactly is Michael Rubin and why does he seem so locked in on black rappers? Let's break it down. According to his own Wikipedia page, Rubin was born in 1972 in Philadelphia and raised in a Jewish family in Lafayette Hill. By just 14 years old, he was already hustling and opening a ski shop with his bar mitzvah money and a lease from his dad.
Groupies on our staff that's been talking about your parties for the last couple of days. That's dying to get to your parties.
Well, you know what? I've actually figured out, like, if this Fanatics thing doesn't work out, I think I could be a good party promoter.
Oh, man, you kidding me?
Yeah, like, I think
I already got the white suit in the closet, so just let us know what, you know what I mean, what's happening.
Yeah. So, you know what it really comes from? I love bringing people from different backgrounds together. And that's something I enjoy doing. Whether it was this lunch we just talked about, whether it's my Super Bowl party, whether it's the white party. For me, it's a great time to, it's like, I enjoy bringing people from different backgrounds together. And by the way, I benefit from them because I'm always learning from people there. And so that's really where it started. We started with our Super Bowl party. And, you know, our Super Bowl party, by the way, this was like this year's Super Bowl party. I was like, when I had many of the owners of the football teams come up and tell me this is better than the game itself, I thought, like, literally that's what people were saying to me. Yeah. Look, I think what we like to do is bring the right people together in a room and then great things happen.
He enrolled at Villanova University, but bailed after just one semester. The reason? A $200,000 overstock gear deal that he flipped with the help of a friend. He used those profits to grow, sell his stores, and launch KPR Sports, which hit a staggering $50 million in sales by 1995. From there, he built a company that morphed into GSI Commerce, a multi-billion-dollar e-commerce empire. These days, Rubin runs Fanatics Inc., the sports merch powerhouse that's the official supplier for the NBA, NFL, MLB, NASCAR, Formula One, and even WWE. And according to Forbes, as of mid-2025, the man's worth sits at a jaw-dropping $10.6 billion. Now, you might be thinking, nothing shady here, right? Sounds like a smart, driven businessman who worked his way up from a middle-class background. But the question people keep asking is, why is he always surrounded by the hottest names in rap? But here's where it gets real sketchy. A lot of people believe most of Michael Rubin's success isn't about his business skills at all. It's about who he knows. And the crazy part? When you actually hear him speak, there's zero charm there. Folks even point out his eyes, saying they look straight up soulless, like something's just off. There's this weird, almost creepy energy around Rubin, and nobody can figure out why so many rappers and athletes seem eager to be in his circle. Now let's talk about those all-white parties he throws every summer in the Hamptons. That whole white party idea, it wasn't even his. Diddy made it famous back in the late 90s. His Hamptons white parties were the place to be. And guess what? A lot of the same A-listers who used to party with Diddy back then are now showing up at Rubin's event. For example, Leonardo DiCaprio. Here's him in 1997 at Diddy's white party, and then again last year smiling it up at Rubin's. Same with Jay-Z. Back in 2003, he was at Diddy's with the late Andre Harrell, and last year, Jay and Beyonce were all dressed in white at Rubin's mansion. So now the talk is, Rubin didn't just copy Diddy's idea, he took it over. And some say he might even be running a behind-the-scenes blackmail game with these events. Rumors swirl that Rubin and a crew of older billionaire friends have a thing for making young black rappers go through humiliation rituals. No one's saying it's forced, but people claim rappers still play along. For some, it's about getting help with legal trouble. For others, it's chasing career boosts, chart-topping albums, big award wins, and staying relevant in the industry. But here's the chilling part. Fans are connecting all this to what Cat Williams has been saying for years. On Joe Rogan's podcast, Cat claimed these industry parties have deep hidden rituals.
Yeah, everybody's like, "Oh, he keeps talking about people wearing dresses." No, it's not.
That is a weird thing.
It's not like that. Look at it from a different way. Look at it. Show me one person that ever wore a dress in Hollywood unsuccessfully. That's how you understand what a ritual is. So 20 years ago, I knew that transgenders was going to be a thing. It wasn't because I was a prophet. It's just I had gotten so much information that I understood that things are secular. So I understood that the earliest I had seen that word transgender was Baphomet, the transgender. And so I knew that in the ritual of Baphomet, the transgender, to show allegiance to him, you had to kiss his ass ring.
Really?
And it said both of those things. So I knew that both of those things would become popular in the future.
And that what happens behind closed doors is way darker than most people could ever imagine. If you think there's more to this story, hit that like button, drop a comment with your thoughts, share this with someone who needs to see it, and make sure you subscribe, because we're only scratching the surface. See you on the next one.
And that's the problem with our system, is because they make such a good first impression saying everybody's guilty that it's hard to get a fair trial. But thank God we got jurors. They took hundreds of pages of notes, and it didn't take them, 2 hours to figure out this is all garbage. This is what your justice is in Memphis. So if you're black and poor, you got a problem.
You heard your attorney say if you're black and poor in Memphis, this is what happens. What would be your words of advice?
Leave Memphis.
Do you plan on leaving Memphis, sir?
Of course.
The state of Tennessee clearly wasn't after Hernandez Govan. They let him slide. But the whispers say the feds got their sights locked on Yo Gotti, and that's where things get real interesting. Just picture it. Stacks of paperwork piled high, witnesses pointing fingers, cops bragging about all the cooperation they got, and cameras catching shady moves around Makita's cookie shop. Cars parked up like vultures across the street before the tragedy went down. It all looked like the state had Govan cornered. Everything seemed stacked against him, like there was no way out. But when the spotlight hit that courtroom, Govan walked out free, like none of it stuck. The jury read the verdict slow and steady, almost cold-blooded. Count 1, not guilty. Count 2, not guilty.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Hernandez Govan, not guilty in count 2 of the indictment.
Then one by one, jurors backed it up, calmly saying, yes, this is my verdict. The tension in that room broke instantly like a balloon popping. And just like that, in a flash, the last man tied to the Young Dolph murder case on the state level was cleared. He stepped out untouched, while everyone else was left spinning with questions and wild speculation.
So let's just keep it real. This is all garbage. And
So why did they let this man walk free? Why release him when there were phone calls, shooters pointing the finger, and receipts tying Govan straight to the ones who squeezed the trigger? On paper, it makes zero sense.
You saw how they shaded off the phone records. Where are the text messages? Where's any of that from Justin Johnson to our client saying we're going to do something? I presented hundreds of text messages where he's threatening people, trying to go shoot people with others. Govan was never in on any of it.
But here's the twist. Word on the streets is the feds told the state to fall back because they're cooking up something way bigger, something that stretches way past just one dude. Think back for a second. Those earlier hits on Young Dolph's life didn't even happen in Memphis. Remember Charlotte, North Carolina, when Dolph's bulletproof SUV got lit up with hundreds of rounds? That wasn't some random drive-by, and guess what? Reports kept saying Yo Gotti and his brother Big Jook just happened to be in the same city at the same time. That's not luck, that's too many coincidences piled up. And it gets wilder. 2 people tied to CMG actually got arrested for those earlier shootings, and one of them is still locked up doing time. This ain't just smoke, it's fire that's been smoldering for years, and some folks think the feds are finally ready to blow the lid off it. Even Black Youngsta couldn't dodge the heat. He once had charges on his back from that same North Carolina shooting, But look closely at his moves lately. He's been sliding away from CMG, the very label that put him on the map. He's no longer officially stamped with the crew that built his name. Now, why would he make a play like that? Some say he already sees the storm brewing. Others whisper he knows exactly what Hernandez Govan knows, the kind of secrets that make a man cut ties before it's too late.
I got a team around me that was very confident and supportive, so without them, it wouldn't be no me. They played a part and proving my innocence.
Behind the curtains, the feds might already be cracking into Yo Gotti's paper trail, digging through bank accounts, shady business flips, and backroom deals. The goal? To tie him directly to a murder plot against Adolph Thornton Jr., the world's Young Dolph. And don't think it's far-fetched. This ain't the first time prosecutors went after rappers by proving they bankrolled violent moves. They've flipped ledgers and receipts into guilty verdicts before, and if that same playbook is in motion here, CMG could be staring at the biggest federal case hip-hop has ever seen. And maybe that's exactly why Yo Gotti's been moving different lately, laying low, staying quiet, and avoiding the spotlight he used to love. No messy beef splashed across headlines, no wild stunts to grab attention, almost like a man who knows too many eyes are locked on him from every direction. It feels less like a career pivot and more like pure survival mode. Because, let's be real, the only real consistent beef Dolph had in these streets was with CMG. That feud wasn't industry hype, it was personal, and it only got nastier as time went on. The turning point? Dolph dropped the explosive track 100 Shots, a record that wasn't just music, but a flat-out declaration of war. Then came Play With Yo B, and If You Know, You Know. Those weren't just diss tracks, they were like poking a raw wound, and according to the whispers in the streets, those two songs alone were enough to spark pure fury. That's when the talk of a six-figure bounty on Dolph's head started circulating, a deadly price tag tied directly to music beef. What began as competition in the booth quickly transformed into something darker, more dangerous, and ultimately deadly. Now let's get real about Dolph's own choices, because they played a massive part in how everything went down. People close to him swear up and down that he should have been rolling with armed security every single day in Memphis. The danger level wasn't a secret. Everybody knew the pressure on his name was sky high. While Yo Gotti was often spotted surrounded by layers of security, moving like a boss behind a wall of protection, Dolph wasn't built like that. He chose a different path. Instead, he'd pull up in those flashy camo-wrapped cars, ride so loud that everyone in Memphis knew exactly who it was the second they hit the block. That wasn't just flexing, that was putting a target on his back. In a city with one of the highest murder rates in the country, moving like that without serious backup wasn't bold. It was almost like writing your own death warrant. And tragically, that's exactly how things ended. One trip to Makita's cookie shop and the world lost an independent king in broad daylight. But here's the twist. While those choices cost him his life, they also cemented his legacy. Dolph refusing to sign with CMG, refusing to fold under pressure, and staying independent wasn't just pride, it was power. He owned his masters, he controlled his business, and he built generational wealth that would feed his family long after him. He showed the game that you didn't need a big label to shine, that independence could be just as powerful as a major deal. It was risky, it was dangerous, but it made him a legend in ways money can't buy. The harsh truth is this: now it's Dolph's widow and his kids left to carry the weight of his choices. They're the ones living with that hole in their hearts, watching the world praise his legacy while knowing the pain up close. And to make it even worse, one of the men once painted as the mastermind behind his murder is already back on the streets, free at least for now.
Yeah, have my life back.
What's the first thing you plan to do?
Go hug my son.
The legacy lives, but so does the wound, and it cuts deep every single day. But here's what people forget: the feds don't play sloppy. They don't rush, they don't stumble, and they don't swing until they're ready to knock you out. They move in silence, stacking evidence piece by piece until the case is airtight with no cracks to escape through. And when they finally pounce, they bite down hard and they rarely miss. The stats don't lie. Federal RICO cases have a conviction rate over 96%. That's almost a guaranteed slam dunk. Just ask Boosie. He thought he slipped free after beating that gun charge, but the feds doubled back, patient and calculated, until they had him cornered. When the feds circle, it's never over. It's just the calm before the storm. So what's next? Word in the streets is the feds are already cooking up a storm behind closed doors, piecing everything together brick by brick. And when that storm finally breaks, it could pour down heavy on Yo Gotti and CMG. Because let's be real, even with stacks of cash and top lawyers, going up against the feds ain't the same as fighting the state. This is a whole different battlefield, and money doesn't guarantee survival. Once the feds lock in on you, that war is almost impossible to win. Which leaves us with some haunting questions to sit with. What if Dolph had actually signed with CMG? Would it have been a truce that saved his life, or just a delay before the same outcome? Could he still be alive today, moving through Memphis under the same flag as his rivals? Or was his decision to stay independent, owning his masters, securing wealth for his family, the right call, even though it came with the ultimate price? The truth is, we may never know the real answer, but the debate will live forever, just like Dolph's legacy. Make sure you like, share, comment your thoughts down below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you on the next one.
La 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 la. I want my $1,000. This nigga, this gonna bet me talking about I ain't got a QP in my car waiting on me when I get to the airport. Give me my $1,000. Yeah. There go the weed. That's security. Give me my motherfucking stack. Hey, man. No. Hey, look, come on down. Give me my stack. There go the security. Don't make me bust that box open. Hey, man, go and bust it open. It's really more than a QP. Go and bust it open, come on, give me that stack.
He was letting them Draco loose. Yeah, he was trying to hit me. But
everybody knew Young Dolph. The cars, the money, the empire. He had it all. But there was one person who always stayed in the shadows, his younger brother, Marcus. No clout chasing, no interviews, no music drops, just raw loyalty. While the cameras were on Dolph, Marcus stayed silent but solid. And when Dolph was ambushed in Memphis, Marcus didn't panic for a second. He clapped back instantly and handled business like a real one. This ain't a story about spotlight or stardom. This is about blood and the man who never left Dolph's side when things got deadly. Marcus didn't rap, didn't chase likes, didn't care about trends. But in the streets of Memphis, the real ones already knew what he was on. He was always in the cut, real low-key, always close to Dolph, but you ain't notice him. Not until things got real.
Yes, sir. The chain around his neck, is that the PRE chain? Yes, sir. The one that we saw in the exhibit? Yes, sir. And that's Marcus behind him? Yes, sir.
While everybody else was chasing clout and flashing for the gram, Marcus was cut from a different cloth. He didn't move to be seen. He moved to make sure Dolph was safe. Dolph might have been the CEO of Paper Route Empire, but Marcus, he was the silent security, no badge needed. Marcus wasn't just family. He was there for every major move.
All right, just.
When Dolph and the team were out in Cali filming the A, Marcus was posted up right there in the background, holding it down. And when Dolph hit the skies to promote his album, guess who was right next to him on that jet? Marcus stayed locked in. And when Dolph stepped into Makita's Cookies that day, Marcus wasn't somewhere far off. He wasn't across town or chilling at home. He was right there in that parking lot, walking side by side with his brother. Always close, always ready.
Handcuffing him, though.
Oh, no.
Because he won't leave.
Stay.
You was gone? Yeah, all I heard was doom, 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 doom. And when I looked to the door, shit, he was letting loose at them, and they was already had.
When those shots went off inside Makita's Cookies, Marcus didn't freeze up. He fired back without hesitation. The whole block was still shaking from the bullets that took Young Dolph's life. But for Marcus, it wasn't over. He wasn't ducking, he wasn't hiding. He chased the getaway car down the street like a man with nothing to lose.
Did y'all see Marcus getting a second His car?
Nah, but when we pulled out and I knew it was shots fired, I was finna shoot back, but there were too many cars coming and I ain't just want to hit no anybody, so I ain't shoot back.
Because Marcus was shooting at y'all as y'all were leaving from down here, is that right?
Yeah.
And you would be in the car at this point?
Yeah, we was in the car.
Looking backwards?
Yeah, I was looking back, but we like how we was driving, like how he was driving, he was all the way on the other side, but no, so I ain't want to just shoot back.
So the shots, all the shots that you fired were the ones we saw right here with Dolph, is that right?
Yeah.
And Justin too?
Yeah.
Alright, so y'all didn't shoot back at Marcus as y'all were driving.
That's not just loyalty, that's real brotherhood in action. Police later confirmed Marcus let off over 15 shots trying to stop them. While the shooter sped off, the one man nobody ever talked about, the one who stayed in the shadows, was still standing tall while everything around him fell apart.
Obviously, we've seen, you know, the things that happened in your career and having to deal with shots and shit like that. How do you, or what advice do you give to other rappers in terms of like being able to move in your own city? Because it seemed like when you go back, when you're in your own city, that's when it seemed like a lot of this stuff happens.
Man, you gotta know what you're doing. Basically, this the rap game, but this really ain't nothing but the streets. But it's all with knowing how to move, man. You know what I'm saying? Like knowing what you're doing, like not you can't be comfortable, never.
After Dolph passed, the world broke. Memphis went quiet. The internet went crazy. But Marcus, he didn't say a word. No interviews, no IG lives, no emotional posts begging for attention, just straight pain bottled up in silence. Marcus pulled up to the memorial quiet, face covered, no cameras, no clout, just pain. Real grief, no filters, no fake tears. Because when you really love someone, you don't need to post about it. You just show up. Everybody wanted to be around Dolph when the money was flowing, when the fame was shining. But Marcus, he was there way before the racks. Back in the real trenches when bullets were flying and it wasn't safe to dream.
You know, I feel like every few months we losing somebody else.
Man, it's just a part of life right now. Whether we like it or not, it's part of life.
Most folks disappear when the pressure hits, but Marcus ran toward the danger without thinking twice. This ain't one of those flashy YouTube stories or TikTok moments. This is real life. That's loyalty. That's blood. That's Memphis to the core. No viral clips, no trending hashtags. Just a brother who stood on business and risked it all for one of the city's greatest. Marcus never chased fame. He stayed solid when it counted most. And for that, he'll always be remembered as forever real. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this with someone who respects real ones. See you on the next one.
Ice Cube is a motherfucking lyricist.
I can't stand Ice Cube.
That's crazy.
I'm not a fan of him lyrically or acting-wise.
Really?
He's the same.
How much time we got left here? Because should I just tell him to leave now?
I saw a comedian speaking kind of bad about you, man.
Who is this?
Aries Spears.
Oh, that dude?
Yeah. He said nothing else.
Is he a comedian?
Yeah.
Because he ain't never made me laugh, so I don't know if he...
You don't think that...
One of the songs I hate the most, if it comes on, I want to shoot the radio. Today was a good day.
You know it's bad when Ice Cube, the same legend who lit up the world with no Vaseline, pauses his billionaire business moves just to clap back at you. But that's exactly what happened when Aries Spears went off on Big Boy's Neighborhood. And not just a little. He came for Cube's entire career. The music, the movies, the legacy, all of it. Aries straight up said Cube is trash, not just as a rapper, but as an actor too. Like, whoa, that's a bold move, especially when Cube's name is etched into hip-hop history.
Great joke. He goes, here's Ice Cube as a gynecologist. Hey, Miss Jenkins, I looked at your chart. Now get up on that thigh.
That's racist. I don't know how it's racist, but what you just did is...
But Cube wasn't quiet. He fired right back and called Aries irrelevant, not funny, and said Aries ain't even on the radar when it comes to black comedy's top 10. Then boom, 50 Cent caught wind of it and couldn't resist. You already know if someone's getting roasted publicly, 50's jumping in. It was like blood in the water, and Aries was the one bleeding. Thing is, this whole mess kicked off from what was supposed to be a chill convo. Big Boy just brought up one of those regular who's your top 5 rapper lists. The kind of thing you hear in every barbershop, but Aries did what Aries always does. He went rogue, no filter, no hesitation. As soon as Ice Cube's name dropped, Aries pounced, and then he really crossed the line, dissing It Was a Good Day, one of the most legendary tracks to ever come out the West Coast. Like, seriously?
Not the greatest lyricist. He was energy. He was passion. He made you feel him. If that said, tear the club up, you wanted to tear the club up. Dear mama, you wanted to hug your mama. When you think about lyricism, Nas, Jay-Z, Biggie, Jadakiss, my lyrics spit.
Even Big Boy's co-host tried to smooth things over with a laugh, but Aries Spears wasn't letting up. Instead of backing off, he doubled down and went all in on this weird out-of-pocket impersonation of Ice Cube as a gynecologist. Yeah, you read that right. It was so cringe, the whole room went silent. Just awkward energy in the air. Everyone hit pause. It was like, yo, what are you doing? Aries had clearly crossed the line and nobody at the table was laughing anymore. Big Boy even tried to change the subject, but Aries just kept spiraling. And just when you thought it couldn't get messier, boom, he came for Tupac.
Watch the comments. Now, when people talk about, you ask anybody, no matter where their region, you know, give me a top 5 rappers. Pac's usually always in that list. Right. I don't ever put Pac up there with the top.
He didn't just throw casual jabs. He went all in, disrespecting legends, trashing the whole West Coast vibe. That's how you get yourself canceled out here. Fast. And the wildest part, Aries knew exactly what he was doing. At one point, he looked right into the camera and made it clear this wasn't a slip-up, it was intentional. And just like that, the internet exploded. One fan posted, I love Aries' skills, but bro, that Ice Cube slander, that's a hard no. Another person went off saying, this is why Aries ain't credible. How you gonna say Cube or Pac weren't lyrical? Sounds like he's just salty, because the West Coast snatched the crown in the late 80s and 90s.
What he said?
What'd he say?
He said it was nothing about you impresses him. From movies to rapping, nothing at all impresses him. I'm like, wow, like what?
Suckers usually don't like me. You know what I'm saying? Like the people that you know, they usually don't like me when they coming from that angle. That's cool though. You know, everybody got their opinion and they all stink. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, it's cool. You know, he entitled to his opinion. It's the feeling is mutual. You know, I don't think he on anybody's list of top 10 comedians, you know what I mean, in the black community for sure. I don't even know if he's on the register with us.
What Aries didn't count on, the actual legends clapping back. Normally these OGs just ignore stuff like this. Let the noise die down, pretend the hate never happened. But not this time. Ice Cube came back swinging like a true icon. He didn't just defend himself, he shut Aries down, questioning if he was even funny, even relevant, or if he ever mattered in the world of black comedy at all. Ice Cube didn't just defend himself, he dragged Aries Spears' whole career down a few levels. Cube wasn't just clapping back, he was strategic, calculated, and cold with it. He's been in this game too long to let some random hit job slide without dropping receipts. Let's not forget who Ice Cube is. The man wrote for NWA, dropped one of the top 3 diss tracks ever, built a Hollywood classic with Friday, and then flipped into mogul mode with the Big 3 basketball league. Cube is certified across every lane, so when he responded, he did it like a boss, with precision and power. But Aries, he didn't get the message. Even after the legends called him out and fans roasted him across social media, he still pulled up on Vlad TV, doubling down like he didn't just get cooked. Mocking Cube once apparently wasn't enough. He had to spin the block and do it again. But here's what Aries completely missed. This wasn't just about Ice Cube anymore. Somewhere out there, probably chilling in a 5-star hotel, sipping something smooth, 50 Cent was watching it all unfold on his phone. And Aries, he'd been messy enough to throw 50's name into the mix too. Most thought 50 wouldn't even bother. The man is stacked with projects, running shows like Power and BMF, selling liquor, making moves in TV, touring, everything. But out of nowhere, 50 posted a slick video, all passive aggressive, not naming names, but everyone knew exactly who it was aimed at.
I gotta listen to this. Nah, this hot right here.
50 called someone delusional without even tagging them. Just enough smoke to make it loud and clear. But why did he even care? Simple. 50 and Cube have real history. Cube believed in 50's movie hustle before Hollywood did. And 50, he's always shown Cube mad love in interviews, always gave him his flowers. But Aries, he's the exact type 50 loves to roast, loud, cocky, and with no recent receipts to show for it. 50 sees that and goes straight into savage mode. And he even posted a bar. Check my temperature, I'm ice cold. The hood left the left side of my chest froze. Need help with your bills? I'll write you a referral-ish. Might even get you a love contract.
You had some words about Ice Cube recently.
You know, Willie D called me.
Okay.
I was in Louisville, Kentucky. And this, I love Willie D, that's my man. But this called me like I disrespected his mama. He was like, Aries, man, you don't understand what Ice Cube done did for the culture, man, and hip hop. Why you say? And I go, Willie, it's a subjective opinion. I'm allowed to not like Ice Cube. I know, man.
That's cold, literally. And once that hit, Aries started feeling the pressure and fired back with an emotional meltdown aimed straight at Cube. And Aries, he still wasn't done. You could tell he was hurt by what Ice Cube said. Not just clowned, but really wounded. And that's when things started spiraling for real. Because here's where Aries completely ruined his own argument. In the same breath, he says he respects Ice Cube as a man, but then turns around and claims Cube's never done anything impressive, ever.
Cube was on when I'm just watching. Music, all of it.
Movies, all of it.
Yeah. I never really seen Ice Cube in films that weren't his. You know, like he kind of produced the vehicle that he was in. And it wasn't like he was just being an actor in someone else's film.
Like what? That's not just a weak opinion. That's a full-blown contradiction. And people noticed right away. He didn't get dragged just for having a wild take. He got dragged because he couldn't stand on it. When the heat came back, Aries tried to play the victim and the internet ate him up. One person clapped back, "You can't drop a hot take and get salty when someone hits back with the same energy." Another posted, "You can have an opinion, but after that skit, nah, you not valid." Cube is a made man. But then it got real ugly as fans didn't just stay on this rap beef, they dug into his past, and suddenly this wasn't just about Ice Cube anymore. People brought up the Tiffany Haddish lawsuit, a dark moment from 2022 that never fully went away. Spears and Haddish were slapped with a disturbing lawsuit tied to a so-called comedy skit where a child is left alone with a creepy adult character played by Aries. The scene, super unsettling.
I'm the poster child for the world's biggest hater. If you look up the word hate, it's my picture. When did we get to a point where unless your opinion, and last time I checked as human beings, we're all allowed to opinions. At what point does it get to where unless your opinion is favorable about a person or a thing and goes with the flow of everyone else, you're a hater? I don't understand that.
The camera lingers in weird ways, and there was nothing funny about it. It sparked instant backlash. Twitter exploded. Even the Shade Room posted the clip, and when they drop something, you know it's serious. Even though the case got settled quietly and the video vanished from the internet, that stain on Aries' name never really faded. And how did Aries respond to all that heat? Not with silence. Nope. He went right back to Vlad TV like none of it happened.
He sent me a clip where Ice Cube responded. He was on a radio show and the dude played him the snippet. And the first thing Ice Cube says is, well, most suckers don't like me. Then he goes on to say, I never heard of this dude. Then he finishes by saying, well, he's just not funny. Well, you can't have it both ways. If you don't know who I am, how do you know if I'm funny or not? So you can't have it both ways.
Ready to talk again. People started peeping something real quick. Aries Spears was popping up on Vlad TV more than Vlad himself. Every other week, there he was again, complaining about being blackballed, ranting like he deserved the same spotlight as Kevin Hart. Fans noticed the pattern. He was talking way more than he was actually working. Instead of headlines for comedy specials or booked out shows, his name only popped up in drama. He was trending for scandals, messy interviews, or bitter hot takes, not for anything career building. Stand-up, cold, acting gigs, quiet, but dissing legends and stirring old trauma, that was Aries' new lane. And it wasn't looking good, but there's more. Behind the scenes, Aries got a rep, and not a good one. Multiple former castmates have spoken up over the years, calling him hard to work with, saying he came in with ego issues and always tried to outshine everyone else in the room.
I respect Ice Cube, the man. I respect Ice Cube in terms of what he's brought to the game. He's one of the pioneers. So hats off to him for...
It was like he couldn't share the stage, even with people who had his back. Sure, he's talented. No one's denying that. The man can do impressions, rock a crowd, hold attention, but he never had that Chappelle moment. That one defining breakthrough that takes a comic from good to legendary, and that kind of bitterness, it builds up. So why did this Ice Cube beef flop so hard for Aries? Simple. You don't come at a cultural giant and expect applause. Let's keep it real. No Vaseline is considered one of the greatest diss tracks ever, period. Friday, that movie didn't just launch a franchise.
I wasn't a fan of his artistry. I never attacked him as a man. I never attacked him in terms of his character. I said I wasn't a fan of his artistry. Why am I not allowed to feel that way? Why is that? And then secondly, it's always funny. People call me a hater because they love to highlight when I say I don't like something as though I don't have love for anything.
It defined black comedy, gave us unforgettable characters, and became a staple in hip-hop culture. The Big Three League, Ice Cube created a whole basketball empire from scratch, now backed by serious investors and real NBA legends. And long before all that, Cube was writing hits for Eazy-E, Dr. Dre, MC Ren, crafting the NWA legacy, while most kids his age were barely passing high school. Meanwhile, what's Aries known for? A couple solid impressions on Mad TV, a few decent stand-up sets, and now going viral for the wrong reasons. Roasting icons on podcasts and acting like he's the victim when it all backfires.
Will never be satisfied. Why? Because some other mother will come along that'll take and blow the world up, and you'll want to be that. And then some other will come around and have as talented as you, or possibly more, and then you're going to get upset because again, you focus on everything that is not you.
Hold up.
Everything you want,
wait a minute,
but not what's in your presence.
And this is exactly why fans sided with Ice Cube instantly. The respect wasn't even up for debate. But here's the final twist that really sealed it. Cube recently dropped a teaser cast list for the long-awaited final Friday movie, and guess whose name was nowhere to be found? That's right, Aries Spears. Now, nobody officially said Aries was ever in the running, but the timing had fans talking. People were convinced Cube was sending a message loud and clear. You can clown all you want, but you're never stepping into these rooms. Doesn't matter how many voices Aries can mimic, when it comes to real Hollywood moves, he's not even in the conversation. He wanted to go viral? Congrats. He got it. But not for the jokes, not for the talent. He's trending because two certified legends called him a nobody. And the internet said, facts. Don't forget to subscribe, drop a comment, share this video, and tell us what you think about the whole mess. And of course, we'll catch you on the next one.
Verdict in the Hernandez-Govan trial. In case you missed it, that verdict came out roughly around 10:45 this morning, and it was not guilty on both counts. Govan was accused of being the mastermind in the death of rapper Young Dolph. He is now a free man, free to go after two not guilty verdicts.
Whatever money you get, save that shit, bro, because they gonna need it.
You making on this YouTube, you need to put it on your life insurance, boy.
Hernandez-Govan just stepped out a free man, but it didn't take long for the noise to follow. Less than a week after his release, he's already stirring things up in interviews, especially when Yo Gotti's name and his crew get mentioned.
He mentioned to me, he was like, man, they ain't trying to do nothing about Dolph trying to kill Gotti.
The catch, people are catching the slip-ups in his stories real quick. Some are saying if he keeps running his mouth like this, he could be right back in a cell or face something even heavier out in the streets. When the news of his release first hit, the internet exploded with mixed reactions. One side argued he faced trial, got his chance in court, and since the jury let him walk, he should be allowed to move forward with his life. But the other side wasn't having it. Many called him guilty and claimed his freedom was a slap in the face to Young Dolph's memory. For the people willing to cut him slack, watching Govan walk out of court felt like proof he paid his dues. He came out looking grateful, calm, and said all he wanted now was to leave Memphis behind and spend time with his family.
Just want to say thank you to my attorneys, Manny, Robert, Haley, Beth, Handel, my private investigators, and Manny still helped me, you know, and he knew I was innocent. Everybody around me knew I was innocent.
It sounded like a man chasing peace, but his moves tell a whole different story. The second the verdict cleared him, Hernandez ran straight to the internet. Instead of disappearing into the background, he's been lining up interviews back to back, and the more he speaks, the more it backfires. Instead of staying quiet, he's spilling details that many thought were nothing but rumors. Take Cornelius Smith, for example, the one who confessed during trial. He was brushed off as a junkie with a shaky story, someone the public barely believed. Most people dismissed his testimony as rambling nonsense, but now, with Hernandez talking so much, he's accidentally giving weight to some of those same claims, and that's when things start to look dangerous. One major red flag, Hernandez swore he never had ties to Yo Gotti, said he never met him, never did business with him, nothing at all. But the internet wasn't convinced. Why? Because Hernandez admitted himself that he was real close with Big Jook, Yo Gotti's older brother, and that their bond went back years. Fans jumped on him instantly. They asked how he could deny ever crossing paths with Yo Gotti while rolling heavy with Gotti's own brother. Even if no direct business went down, most people are convinced their worlds had to overlap at some point. And here's where the contradictions explode. In one breath, Hernandez swears he doesn't know Yo Gotti, but in the next, he brags about working for CMG, Gotti's own label. He claims he was scouting talent, signing rappers, and even helping shape the brand itself. He even went as far as saying he tried to line up Straight Drop, the same guy later charged in Young Dolph's murder, for a CMG record deal. That's when everything starts looking real messy. Remember, Cornelius Smith testified in court that Straight Drop's motive was money and that Big Jook promised him a shot at a record deal. Now Hernandez is basically confirming parts of that himself. In his own words, he said he was sitting in the house with Big Jook and Straight Drop when the conversation about music opportunities came up. With that admission, people started piecing things together. If Straight Drop was hanging around Jook, hearing whispers about deals and promises, it's not hard to see why he might have thought knocking off Dolph was his golden ticket in. The theory floating online is simple. Straight Drop believed that if he handled Jook's biggest problem, Dolph, he'd prove his loyalty and lock in that CMG deal. In his mind, pulling off that move could shoot him into the industry and maybe even stardom. But instead of rising up, everything crumbled. Now he's looking at the rest of his life locked away with nothing to show for it but regret. And Hernandez didn't stop running his mouth there. He dropped even more wild claims. He said Cornelius Smith also pulled up to the house that same day. According to Hernandez, he figured Cornelius was just sliding through for drugs like usual. He even said he told him to leave because he was busy trying to lock in Straight Drop's deal. But then came the curveball. Hernandez claimed Cornelius turned and asked, "They ain't trying to do nothing about Dolph, trying to kill Gotti?" That's when the internet exploded. Hernandez said it was the first time he ever heard anything like that. He admitted he already knew Yo Gotti wanted Dolph out the way, but hearing that Dolph supposedly wanted to kill Gotti, that, he said, was brand new info to him. But fans aren't buying it. They argue if Cornelius could casually throw that out in front of Big Jook and Straight Drop, it proves he already knew what the meeting was really about, dangling a record deal to push Straight Drop into handling business. So when Hernandez plays clueless, people call it a front. The fact Cornelius was bold enough to say that in front of him only shows Hernandez was in the loop. That's why Cornelius didn't hold back, because he knew Hernandez was part of the bigger picture. And it lines right up with what he testified in court about the conspiracy. Sure, Cornelius has a messy reputation, but people now point out he wasn't lying about everything, especially not about that meeting. Then Hernandez let another bombshell slip. He basically confirmed Yo Gotti made multiple attempts to take out Young Dolph, and if words weren't enough, the streets remind everybody that history already shows it. Dolph survived several attempts before they finally caught him. The first major hit came back in 2017 during CIAA weekend in Charlotte. Dolph's SUV got sprayed with over 100 bullets in broad daylight. Just blocks away from the basketball championship arena, it was chaos everywhere. Multiple cars riddled, shell casings all over the street.
I'm standing up there. I seen him pull off right here.
Yeah, pull off right
here. Bro, a truck came from right here, pulled up, slammed on brake. Ain't like a movie, bro.
Rumors spread quick that Dolph had already armored up his truck before the ambush, like he knew the storm was coming straight from Yo Gotti's side. The timing had people convinced he was always a step ahead, ready for whatever was thrown his way. Not long after, 3 men got scooped up in connection: Black Youngsta, Frederick Black, and Anus Gardner. The charges were heavy, everything from firing into an occupied property to full-on conspiracy. But when Dolph was asked about it, he barely flinched. He didn't let the drama shake him. He just kept grinding, stacking wins, and shining even harder right in the faces of his enemies.
One thing that I know for sure, and I've been knowing this shit for a long time, you kill your haters with success.
Right after the ambush, Dolph didn't hide. He came back swinging. He hit the stage performing his Yo Gotti diss track play with Yo B, sending a loud message straight at his rivals. Then he doubled down even harder, dropping 3 tracks sparked by the chaos, 100 shots in Charlotte, and Bulletproof. In the end, the charges against Black Youngsta got tossed out. Court papers showed the only connection was a rental car in his name. No evidence he was actually behind the wheel or even present when the shots rang out. But the drama didn't stop there. Just a few months later, another attempt on Dolph's life went down, this time outside the Lowe's Hotel in Hollywood. It all started with a fight in the valet area involving 3 men. Dolph got knocked to the ground, and that's when the shots flew. He was hit multiple times, rushed into surgery, and somehow pulled through once again. The message was crystal clear. Somebody out there was determined to see him gone for good.
He was shot. Detectives say 3 men approached him right in front of Lowell's Hollywood Hotel today, where all 4 were guests. There was a fight. Young Dolph fell to the ground, and that's when one of the 3 suspects opened fire.
LAPD even put Yo Gotti's name on the radar as a person of interest after witness statements pointed his way. One of his close partners, Corey McClendon, was arrested near the scene, and police even tracked down a gold Escalade tied to the suspects just blocks away. But just like before, nothing stuck. McClendon walked free, and no official charges were ever filed for that shooting. But even after staring death in the face, Dolph didn't blink. He wasn't rattled, wasn't hiding, none of that. Not long after, people were spotting him moving around solo, cool as ever, like nothing had happened. All Dolph cared about was stacking up more money, building his empire, and leveling up even higher right in front of the same people who wanted him gone.
Things happen like you had happened to you. They have epiphanies. They have like life-changing moments. Just want to ask, has your worldview changed at all after what's happened to you?
Not really.
Then came the tragedy that crushed Memphis, the murder of Young Dolph, the darkest moment in this whole story. In broad daylight, right in his own hometown, Dolph pulled up to Makita's homemade cookies, a spot he always showed love to, when 2 masked gunmen ambushed him. They lit him up with multiple shots before speeding off in a getaway car. The whole scene was caught on surveillance cameras, and just like that, Memphis lost one of its most respected voices. Now comes the million-dollar question. Why is Hernandez Govan jumping on platforms and basically incriminating himself and everybody tied to the case? Some say he's reckless, a man who simply can't keep quiet, but others think it runs deeper. The theory? Hernandez might actually be working with the feds. Some even claim the only reason he's walking free is because they don't really care about him. The idea floating around is that the feds aren't chasing Hernandez. They're aiming higher, locked in on Yo Gotti. Some believe Hernandez already cut a deal, maybe even cooperated, and walked away clean. Others think the feds are letting him talk freely in public so he can help build their case against Gotti without even realizing it. And when you step back, it doesn't sound too far off. Hernandez has already sat in front of cameras and admitted clear as day that Yo Gotti tried to have Dolph taken out multiple times. Combine that with the long trail of failed hits on Dolph before his murder, and it's like Hernandez connected all the dots out loud for the world to hear. That's why people say Gotti's been moving different ever since Dolph's death. Quiet, calculated, careful. No more reckless behavior, no spotlight chasing, because he knows every single eye is locked on him now. And if all that wasn't enough to keep the rumors spinning, fans started pointing fingers at Black Youngsta. Out of nowhere, he went viral after scrubbing CMG from his bio and declaring he was independent. Then he dropped a string of cryptic posts that felt like thinly veiled shots at Yo Gotti himself. In one post he wrote, "I'm sick of these dudes and I'm gonna lead by example. I'll show them there's more to life. I blame the fake OGs, the fake big homies, the fake big brothers, the fake CEOs, the fake teachers, the fake people who never tell you right from wrong. But I get it, it's hard to take advice from a fake person. I was once like you. I'm not afraid to admit it." He followed it up with short but sharp words. "I'm cool on that." But Youngsta didn't stop there. He kept firing off more cryptic messages. He wrote about fake love and loyalty from people he once trusted, saying he was fine standing alone and done making things look good for others. He added, "We either cool or we not. Either way, I'm cool. I'm not like your favorite rapper. Allegedly, I live what I rap. Whole time, dudes just sound good on songs. If I'm lying, God can take my soul in the next 5 minutes. No cap." He even admitted he had to cut off people he once thought were solid. And that shook people because everyone knows Youngsta wasn't just part of the Dolph versus CMG feud. He was front and center. He was the loudest voice in that war. So for him to suddenly distance himself now, that's got the internet buzzing nonstop.
Where you at, dog?
She laughing back. You see me? Dolph at, cuz.
Where you at, dog?
Where you at? Where you at? We in Cash Stadium right now. We just left the store. Where you at right now, dog?
Even after Dolph's death, Black Youngsta doubled down on the disrespect. He shot a whole music video for one of his Dolph diss tracks inside a graveyard, standing in front of a tombstone with Thornton engraved on it, Dolph's real last name. The move caused outrage everywhere. People couldn't believe he'd go that far, especially so soon after Dolph's murder. But Youngsta clearly didn't care. He clapped back on Instagram writing, "I'm the type who never looked for sympathy. I come from the heart of South Memphis where you don't get that. Don't even know what it is. With that being said, I could give 2 Fs what the world thinks about me." Now fans are side-eyeing everything. If even Youngsta is slowly stepping back, maybe it's because he knows something. Maybe he sees the storm forming and wants out before the feds really lock in on Gotti and CMG. And that's the root of the argument. People just don't buy the idea that Yo Gotti is innocent. Because when you line it all up, the only beef Dolph ever had that turned deadly was with Gotti and CMG. No matter how Hernandez tries to twist the story, the blame always circles back to that camp. And speaking of Hernandez, plenty of people say his guilt was showing long before he sat down with Vlad TV or any other platform. He had already gone viral after clashing with blogger Seti Nash, who's been following Dolph's case closely. Nash made it clear he never believed Govan or the other suspects were innocent. So when Hernandez got the chance, he pressed him during a tense 13-minute exchange, making it clear he wasn't happy at all.
I just don't respect, you know what I'm saying, man? You know how, you was putting the narrative back like I had something, like I was really in on it. You know what I'm saying?
The argument flared up quick, turning tense in no time. At one point, Hernandez threw out a warning, saying Nash's style of reporting could end up getting him banned from Memphis. That instantly set the tone. Nash wasn't about to let that slide. He fired back, telling Hernandez to watch how he talked. But Hernandez wasn't backing off for nothing. Instead, he went for the low blow, comparing Nash to kids who used to get bullied back in high school.
I look at you as like little kids at high school that used to get beat up and now you got a voice since the internet has been invented.
Then came the moment that shook everybody watching. Right before the conversation ended, Hernandez locked eyes with Nash and dropped a chilling line. Whatever money you making on this YouTube, you need to put it on your life insurance. To most people, that wasn't just slick talk, it sounded like a straight up threat, as if Hernandez was basically telling Nash his life could be on the line.
Whatever money you get, save that, bro. Because, nigga, they gonna need it.
You making on this YouTube, you need to put it on your life insurance.
Some people brushed it off, saying Hernandez was just chasing clout, trying to act tough, maybe even pulling a publicity stunt to stay relevant, but others weren't laughing. They pointed out that if he's bold enough to say something that reckless out in public, imagine the kind of talk or moves he could be making behind closed doors. And that's exactly why the fire around all this keeps spreading. To many, the Dolph versus Gotti saga is nowhere near finished. If anything, it feels like the heat is rising all over again, and the next chapter could turn out uglier than the last. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, and drop a comment with your thoughts, and I'll catch you on the next one.
I've been spraying your bitch for years, nigga, the whole city know that. Gotti, you was a... I just got back to the city, they say you trying to put charges on me and put the police on me. You send your little nigga out to do all your talking. Talk for yourself, bitch. Hey, that big head down syndrome looking on everybody from the city that gets some real money.
Just days ago, Black Youngsta shook the internet after quietly yanking CMG from his Instagram bio and making it crystal clear he's rolling solo now as an independent artist. The moment the news hit, fans and blogs went wild and social media lit up like a fireworks show. And if this whole thing feels like deja vu, that's because it kinda is. Every year or so, Youngsta pulls a similar move, stirring up the same wave of drama and speculation. Just last year, he did almost the exact same thing, stripped his CMG tag off his profile, dropped some cryptic posts, and then popped up next to Yo Gotti at his birthday bash barely a week later. That repeat pattern got people asking, is there real smoke between him and the label, or is this just one of Youngsta's go-to tricks to keep his name buzzing? But there's no denying that something changed between him and CMG boss Yo Gotti after the heartbreaking loss of Memphis rapper Young Dolph back in 2021. Fans have been tossing around all kinds of theories, but one thing that keeps coming up is whispers about Gotti not being too happy with how Youngsta carried himself right after Dolph's passing.
Started off hating on 3-6, nigga, and they were having Oscars and shit. You had to hate because you were broke, nigga. That's the only way you can get attention, boy. You were broke, boy. Now you hating on Dolph, nigga. You were... Hey, man, if I was your boy, I'd be mad at me too, man. Why you mad at me? Because your don't fake watch busters and you had to fake it till you make it, bitch. And I came in the game rocking real ice driving coupes and
When Dolph was killed, Gotti's brother Big Jook reportedly got detained and questioned by police, putting a heavy spotlight on CMG. Then it got messier. Court docs and witness statements in connected cases mentioned CMG's name multiple times, tying the label even tighter to the tragedy in the eyes of the public. And right in the middle of that storm, Youngsta went online posting captions and visuals that many felt mocked Dolph's death. Whether he thought it was a joke, a jab, or just him being himself, it looked bad, really bad. For Gotti, who was already under the glare of the media and law enforcement, having one of his star artists stirring the pot like that wasn't just messy, it was a major risk to CMG's image. Word on the street is that behind closed doors, Yo Gotti tried to put the brakes on Youngsta's wild social media streak, keeping the label's name from getting dragged any deeper into the mess. But for someone like Youngsta, who's built his whole persona on speaking his mind without a filter, that kind of leash could have made the tension with CMG's leadership even hotter. Then, Youngsta jumped online and let loose with a fiery post that had everyone talking. Play with me. I'm gonna take away everything that came out your mama. I swear to God, all my brothers dead, so why not? The house gonna send it upside down about me, dead or alive, but I stand on my own 10. That's why I'm respectful and respected everywhere I go. I'm the realest wiggle you will run across. All my wiggles know for sure I hold it together. Loyalty, all we know. The house don't go against the house. That's the way my grandma raised me. God bless everyone. And he didn't stop there. The next part was just as explosive. These wiggles see before and they still misleading you like they some type of mob bosses. Bro, I'm going to bed right now and it's 11 a.m. I'm sick of these wiggers and I'm going to lead by example. I'm going to show them young wiggers there's more to life. I blame the fake OGs, the fake big homies, the fake big brothers, the fake CEOs, the fake teachers, the fake people who in your life are not telling you right from wrong. But I understand it's hard to listen to BS from a BS person. I was once like you. I'm not afraid to admit it. God put me here to help you go through whatever it is that you are dealing with. Things hit a whole new level when some of Black Youngsta's words started getting read as slick subliminals aimed straight at Yo Gotti. In one post, Youngsta dropped a line about fake mob bosses, and that got people buzzing because Gotti has never been shy about his fascination with real-life mob figures. His very rap name, Yo Gotti, is a nod to the infamous John Gotti, the Italian-American mafia boss of the Gambino crime family, a name that screams power, respect, and underworld loyalty. So when that fake mob bosses line went viral, the streets were watching to see if Gotti would clap back, and sure enough, he seemed to throw his own shade without saying Youngsta's name. He posted 3 polished photos on Instagram with captions like "Nothing Bigger" and "Unbreakable," while blasting Jay-Z's legendary Dynasty intro in the background. The pairing felt way too calculated to be random. That track is dripping with mafia-style imagery, and 2 bars in particular had fans raising eyebrows. The first one, the theme song to The Sopranos, playing the key of life on my mental piano. If you know, you know. The Sopranos was all about mob boss Tony Soprano, loyalty, betrayal, and running an empire under pressure. Gotti picking this song with its mob-heavy symbolism looked like a direct counter to that fake mob boss's jab, reminding everyone of his own branding and how deep it runs. Then came the second bar that had people dissecting every word. Clap whoever stand between Sean and figures. In street terms, clap means taking someone out, removing anything or anyone standing in the way of money and operations. Some fans took that as more than just rap nostalgia. They saw it as Gotti quietly hinting that his problem with Youngsta wasn't personal beef, but straight up business. The unspoken message. Disrespecting Young Dolph right after his passing wasn't worth the heat, especially with CMG's name already floating around in court documents and police chatter.
It was hard. I'm like, damn, that bumping. It did me fast as hell. I'm like, hold on. I gotta hit back. Right now, cuz. We in Castain right now, cuz. What Dolph at, cuz? Where he at, blood? Where he at? Where he at right now? Where he at? Where he at? Where he at?
Whether Gotti was playing a calculated chess move or just vibing to a favorite song, the timing, the captions, and the mob symbolism had fans convinced. This was another round in the quiet, high-stakes battle between 2 of Memphis's biggest names.
Hey, nigga, we on the Castain right now, nigga.
We out here, man.
Nigga.
Right after Gotti's slick post hit the gram, Youngsta jumped in with a raw, no-filter message that had the internet in a frenzy. He made it clear he wasn't here for fake energy, and if you don't see him with someone, there's a reason. Don't ask me about no wiggle you don't see me with. I don't allow nobody I don't respect around me. For real, for real. Mind you, this is the same day I went viral for taking CMG out my bio and saying I'm independent. So I'm sure people was hitting me up asking what's up with me and Gotti. Don't ask me about no wiggle you don't see me with. I don't allow nobody I don't respect around me. For real, 90% of the people you see me around, it's only business for me. For real. Majority of my friends are dead and gone. I don't make new friends for sure. The 1% you never see me with, and we like real brothers, it's love, loyalty to the death with us. But truth be told, I'm cool on that fake love and loyalty from a few people that I realize been faking for too long at this point. I'm cool with standing alone. I'm cool with the fact that I have put trust in the wrong people a few times. I wash my hands. No more making it look good. We either cool or we not. Either way, I'm cool. I'm not like your favorite rapper, allegedly. I live what I rap. Whole time, these wiggers just sound good on songs. If I'm lying, God could take my soul like my body in the next 5 minutes, and no cap. I cut a lot of people off that I thought was real like me. They either used to be made yes men, snakes, disloyal, ungrateful, don't believe in God like me, or think they bigger than the program. Then he doubled down with a final statement that hit like a warning shot. I know I'm not untouchable. I know I'm not bigger than the program. I know no matter how much money I got, I can be touched. And I know for a fact that my ops know I don't play the radio. No B in my blood. P.S. Youngsta thugging dolo, the strongest man alive. Midway through his career, Youngsta once admitted in an interview that he and Gotti used to clash over how he moved. Gotti thought he was way too reckless. Youngsta even dropped a CMG project titled Young and Reckless, which pretty much summed up his whole vibe at the time. But if Black Youngsta and Yo Gotti can't find some common ground soon, this could explode into something way bigger than just industry gossip. In Memphis, and in hip-hop culture as a whole, beef between powerful names doesn't always stay on wax or in cryptic Instagram captions. Sometimes that energy jumps off the screen and into the streets, and that's when the stakes get real. Gotti moves like a boss with military precision, surrounding himself with loyal, disciplined hitters who follow the program. If his fallout with Youngsta ever crossed into true hostility, it wouldn't just be about diss records. In the worst case, friends, family, and close associates could get pulled into the crossfire, paying the price for a feud they didn't even start. History shows us when two big players in one city go to war, it's often the people around them who catch the fallout. And for Youngsta, the danger runs even deeper. Gotti's influence stretches far from the music industry to street ties, and he's known for making problems disappear or suddenly appear. If things went left, it wouldn't take much for someone in their shared circle to backdoor Youngsta, set him up, or even involve law enforcement to box him in. That's the quiet, calculated mob way. No open confrontation, just moves that speak louder than words. And if cooler heads don't step in fast, this tension could spiral into a point of no return, creating a chain reaction that neither side can control. In a city like Memphis, where loyalty runs deep but betrayal cuts deeper, one wrong move could turn a personal grudge into an all-out crisis. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, and drop a comment with your thoughts, and I'll catch you on the next one. Yo Gotti might be walking on thin ice right now. Word is the feds are quietly gearing up to drop a bombshell indictment on him over Young Dolph's homicide. The biggest hint? It's coming straight out the courtroom, where Hernandez Govan's trial is about to turn Memphis upside down. People are whispering that Govan may have already flipped, possibly pointing the finger at Yo Gotti and his brother Big Jook, who in a wild twist ended up dead not long after those whispers started flying. Now here's the question, was Big Jook staying quiet to protect Gotti? Think about it, Gotti had everything lined up perfectly. His dream girl Angela Simmons by his side, CMG winning big, his artist dominating the charts. Why would he risk throwing it all away over an old street beef? If anything, it sounds like he had every reason to tie up any loose ends. And now, all eyes are on Govan's trial, which has been delayed more times than an unfinished mixtape. It's finally locked in for August 18th, 2025, just days away. Govan's no small player either. He's staring down first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit killing, and even attempted homicide charges for allegedly masterminding the 2021 hit on Dolph. But here's the real head-scratcher. Part of the case is sealed. On July 29th, Judge Jennifer Mitchell closed off motions and rulings to the public. No access, no explanation, just silence. That's far from normal in a high-profile murder case linked to one of Memphis's most beloved rap icons. When a courtroom goes dead silent like this, it's usually one of two things: deals being cut behind closed doors, or big names being shielded from the heat. But here's what's really making the streets buzz. Hernandez Govan is out on bond, strolling around like nothing happened, chilling on a $90,000 bond, even after violating it. We're talking about the man accused of masterminding a major murder plot, and yet out of all the co-defendants, he's the only one granted bond and even got it reinstated after breaking the rules. Meanwhile, dudes like Justin Johnson and Cornelius Smith are still rotting in cells, fighting just to get basic legal scraps. People close to the case are convinced this ain't just some legal strategy move. They think Govan has already given the feds exactly what they wanted. Maybe he's naming names like Big Jook, or even Yo Gotti himself. Look at the timing, sealed court documents, Govan's bond magically back in place, and a trial about to kick off with the key player walking free. That's not coincidence, that's strategy. This trial could blow the Young Dolph case wide open again, and if Yo Gotti's name slips out in that courtroom, it could mark the most shocking fall in Memphis rap history. And here's where things start locking in on Gotti. Prosecutors have flat out claimed Big Jook put up a $100,000 bounty to make Dolph vanish. According to court files and street whispers, Govan was the middleman, connecting the shooters to the cash and the target. In short, Govan was playing chess while Big Jook moved the pieces. And CMG might have been the whole board. But when the hit went down in 2021 and the two alleged triggermen pulled up, they were supposedly expecting that full $100,000 and only walked away with around $800 to $1,500 each. Money coming straight from Jook, not Gotti directly. That one detail's got everybody wondering. Was this a CMG financed hit, or did Jook act solo? Because if the money trail leads back to CMG, even through Jook, then Yo Gotti's empire isn't just in trouble. It's sitting dead center in the feds' crosshairs. This ain't rap beef anymore. This is organized conspiracy territory, and it's getting darker by the day. Big Jook's killing in January 2024 hit Memphis like a thunderclap, and the timing couldn't look more suspicious. By then, Hernandez Govan was already locked up, and the whispers that he might flip were getting louder by the day. Then, just like that, Jook gets taken out. Some folks swear it was Dolph's people finally getting their payback, but others believe it was a straight-up cleanup job, wiping Jook off the board before he could be used against the bigger names in the game. When you mix that with Govan's trial being sealed tight, him still walking free on bond, and Yo Gotti staying dead silent on his own brother's killing, the whole thing starts to sound less like grief and more like strategy. Out in public, Gotti's been all smiles, stacking awards, closing deals, showing off with Angela Simmons. But behind the scenes, the talk is that CMG's been tightening ranks, bracing for a major storm. Because if Govan starts dropping names in that courtroom, the next logical target isn't just anyone, it's Yo Gotti himself. And Gotti's name keeps coming up for one simple reason. The one man who might have taken the fall for him is now gone. Jook wasn't just Gotti's brother, he was his money man, his logistics guy, and the critical link between CMG and the alleged shooters who gunned down Young Dolph. His death hit the city like a silent bomb. No suspects, no arrests, just a top-tier street figure taken out outside a restaurant only hours after attending a family burial. To anyone paying attention, this wasn't random. It was surgical. Jook was killed right after a funeral in a setting so low-key, it made the hit look effortless. Whether or not he was truly flipping, the belief that he could was enough to put a target on his back. And what really adds fuel to the fire is how Yo Gotti handled it. No public grief, no press statements, just pure silence. And in the streets, silence screams louder than words. If Jook was acting alone, if it had nothing to do with CMG, you'd expect Gotti to clear the air, but he didn't. Now people are asking the real question, was this revenge or was it a cover-up? A last-ditch move to shield Gotti with the feds watching every step and the Dolph case gearing up for a second win. Some believe taking Jook out bought Gotti more time to get his legal defenses locked in. But losing Jook wasn't the only hit Gotti took. His love life started unraveling too. Not long after her man's brother was killed, Angela Simmons didn't slam the door, then she just slipped away, quiet and graceful on her own terms. Then she pulled up to Angie Martinez's show and dropped this.
Angela Simmons, are you telling me right now you're in your single girl era again?
Yeah, I'm telling you that.
Just weeks before Hernandez Govan's long-awaited trial was finally set to kick off, Angela Simmons dropped the bomb. She and Yo Gotti were officially over. No screaming match, no messy public fallout, just a soft-spoken split with lines like all love and it was my choice. But anyone really watching could feel the tension hiding between the words. Her talk about being in a growing and healing season, paired with the fact she walked away right before one of the biggest legal battles in Gotti's career, said way more than any gossip blog ever could. Sure, some tried to blame it on Gotti's packed schedule or his tight connection with Glorilla, but others saw something way bigger in play: legal smoke, the kind that makes high-profile names start thinking twice about who they're standing next to and what that could cause. Angela knows how this industry works, and the last thing she'd want is to be even remotely linked to a federal indictment, especially one tied to a high-profile homicide and an active criminal investigation. If Gotti's case takes a wrong turn, the headlines won't just hit him, they'll splash all over anyone in the same frame. Her timing doesn't look like coincidence at all. It feels like strategy. A clean, quiet exit to step out of the blast zone before the explosion. And now, with Angela gone, Gotti's more isolated than ever. No brother, no ride or die partner, just mounting pressure, heavy heat, and a trial creeping closer by the day. But Angela isn't the only one who's suddenly gone missing from Gotti's circle. Black Youngsta has too, and you don't need a TMZ headline to see something's off. Just look at his Instagram. The same man who built a brand off flashing stacks of cash, trolling rivals, and turning every post into a movie has gone completely ghost. For someone who was loud about wanting Dolph gone, this sudden silence is more than strange. It's downright unsettling. Now, in 2025, Youngsta's presence has almost completely vanished, and both fans and industry insiders are starting to ask the same question: why? Some folks say Black Youngsta's just laying low on purpose, maybe even under direct orders from Yo Gotti himself, keeping his head down while the Govan trial creeps closer. But others think it runs way deeper. Whispers say he might already be under strict legal restrictions, or worse, sitting in custody with nobody talking about it. And it's not just Youngsta. The whole CMG camp feels different. The label's vibe has shifted. No more hyped up Gotti shoutouts, no over-the-top flexing, just a cleaner, quieter brand image. It's like the entire crew is moving in stealth mode, as if they know a storm is about to hit, and they're doing everything possible to avoid getting swept away. Youngsta's silence hits the loudest when you remember his history with Dolph. The tension, the blatant disrespect, the back and forth jabs that used to light up the internet. If anyone would have something to say right now, it'd be him. But whether it's loyalty, fear, or pure legal strategy, nobody knows for sure. What we do know is that his sudden vanishing act lines up perfectly with the rest of CMG's strange moves. And when you step back, those moves don't look random anymore. They look calculated. If you know how the feds operate, you see the playbook. They start at the shooters, then they work up to the middleman, then the money guy. And once the whole structure's mapped out and loyalty starts cracking, they aim straight for the boss. Right now, all signs point to Gotti being that final target, and we've already seen the early steps. Justin Johnson and Cornelia Smith, one of them's flipped, spilling key details about the promised cash and exactly who gave the orders. That's the kind of federal leverage that can turn a life sentence into a bargaining chip. And right now, all eyes are locked on Hernandez Govan. If he's cooperating, the feds aren't just looking at the shooters. They're digging for who funded, planned, and greenlit the hit on Young Dolph. If Govan's handed over text messages, Cash App receipts, or anything tracing payments back to CMG's top brass, that's straight up RICO territory. Because once prosecutors can prove the hit was organized, financed, and executed through a structured crew, it flips the whole thing into a criminal enterprise. The pressure is not just real, it's climbing by the day, and every thread leads back to the same point: the brazen daylight killing of Young Dolph at Makita's homemade butter cookies in 2021. What began as a city-shaking tragedy is now unraveling into something way more calculated, a tightly organized operation that's being dismantled piece by piece. If those dots connect, this won't just be a Memphis case anymore. It becomes a full-blown federal RICO strike, targeting everyone from the trigger pullers all the way up to the executives calling the shots. And if that happens, Yo Gotti's name doesn't just come up in court, it lands in bold print on the indictment. That kind of paperwork would send shockwaves through the entire Memphis rap scene. There's no official indictment yet, but Gotti's behavior is already matching the blueprint of somebody bracing for one. This isn't just him going quiet online. He's erasing himself from sight. The same man who once proudly claimed the face of Memphis, from red carpets to rolling loud stages, is now moving strictly in shadows. That type of pullback only happens when heavy legal moves are in play. His inner circle is already cracking. Big Jook was gunned down in broad daylight right as the whispers of cooperation started getting louder. Black Youngsta disappearing without a word. Angela walking out just weeks before Govan's trial date dropped. These aren't random moves. They look like pure fallout. And here's why things are getting dangerous for Yo Gotti. Cornelius has already testified that Big Jook promised $100,000 to have Dolph taken out. Govan, he's pegged as the middleman, the link between the bag and the shooters. But here's the twist. That promised payout was never fully delivered. And this is where it gets critical. Because in the streets, broken promises can lead to broken silence. Right now, Govan is the only major player in this case who isn't either locked up or dead. That alone screams one thing. He gave the Fed something valuable. In a killing for hire setup, it doesn't matter if you never touched the gun. If you funded, planned, or knowingly allowed it to happen, the law hits you with the same weight. If Govan turned over phone logs, payment records, or proof CMG funds were moved in connection to the murder, that's all prosecutors need, and that's why this trial is so dangerous. Because it's not just about what the public sees in court. It's about the sealed evidence we don't see. Prosecutors don't seal cases to protect the guilty. They seal them to protect evidence that's still in play. And the fact Govan's pre-trial filings are locked away from public view screams that someone else is being lined up next. And here's the real kicker, RICO. The feds have been flipping rap crews into RICO targets for years, from death row to BMF to YSL. It starts with one homicide, then unravels into a full-blown criminal enterprise, and CMG checks every box: business structures, documented beefs, internal money movement, and direct ties to violent acts. The Dolph murder isn't just rap beef gone wrong, right? It's starting to look like a structured paid contract. That's exactly the kind of setup that opens the door for a RICO strike. And under that, Gotti doesn't need to pull the trigger or even send a text. If they prove he knew about the plan and allowed his network to run it, the hammer falls just the same. If Gotti goes down, it's not just a fall from grace, it's the collapse of one of the most powerful camps in Southern hip-hop. And the gears are already turning. Make sure you like, subscribe, share this with your people, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Because this storm's just getting started. See you on the next one.
Look at them, y'all. It looked like Bimmy spit this boy out. Tiny, you got some explaining to do.
Stop talking to me. This ain't your restaurant. This ain't your restaurant. Everything you make, I can pull out my pocket right now. I ain't tripping on you. I ain't tripping. Get the hell out of my face. I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking to you.
Y'all, the rumors are starting with T.I. The rumors are starting with T.I. It's coming out that King is not his son.
King Harris has been shaking up headlines like crazy, and the drama just keeps getting wilder by the day. The newest whispers floating around, that T, I might not even be King's biological father, and that rumor hit like a bomb after their messy fallout. It all popped off at an Atlanta Falcons game where father and son clashed right in front of fans and cameras.
That day in my life. You did have a silver spoon. We used to have to come to my grandma's house.
One of hip-hop's most famous families, ripped apart in real time by fights, live streams, and shocking claims. It was like watching a family meltdown unfold on stage for the world to judge. King, already known for his fiery temper, was caught on Instagram Live going back and forth with a man in the stands. Instead of cooling down, he snapped harder, shouting, "I stand on business," like he had something to prove to everyone watching. But T.I. wasn't letting that slide. The rapper stepped in, telling his son he was embarrassing the family by pushing this tough guy act too far. Things heated up fast, so much that T.I. grabbed King in a headlock right there in front of the crowd. It was his way of reminding King, who still runs the house.
Stop talking to me. This ain't your restaurant. This ain't your restaurant. Everything you make, I can pull out my pocket right now. I ain't tripping on you. I ain't tripping. Get the hell out of my face. I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking to you.
Stop talking to him, please.
Who the hell is he? What's your name?
What's your name?
My name King. You know it and your mama know it. Tell your mama Happy Mother's Day. Tell your mama Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day. That file show.
But hours later, King hit back on Instagram with even more fire, blasting his dad with lines like, "I don't care who you are, I'm a grown man." And then came the rawest line of all. "Now, if I was a mistake, say that." That statement shook fans, leaving people wondering if this was just a spoiled celebrity kid lashing out, or if there's a deeper family truth hiding behind the chaos. And let's not forget, this isn't King's first time wilding out in public. People still remember when he went viral for talking down to Waffle House workers like he was untouchable. The shocking part? T.I. defended him back then instead of checking his son, which only made the image of King as an entitled rich kid even harder to shake. Then came one of King's coldest controversies, the moment he dared a homeless man to eat a banned chip for $50 if he could survive 5 minutes without water. The man was clearly in pain, but instead of showing even a little compassion, King laughed like it was a comedy skit, turning suffering into pure entertainment. Fans didn't hold back. They lit him up online.
Yeah, man, it's a lot about that TV show, man, that got people confused. Because I live with my grandma. You know, we'll go to the house on like a weekend. They'll say, "Hey, we shooting today. We need y'all at the house." They'll come get me from my grandma.
But King stood firm, refusing to apologize, acting like he was too high up to admit he messed up. After the Falcons game meltdown, things got even darker. King started accusing T.I. of abandoning him in the hood and even mistreating him. At first, a lot of people wrote it off as clout chasing. After all, King had a millionaire father and grew up inside a gated estate. But then the receipts hit the internet and the story flipped on its head. Turns out King actually spent most of his childhood living with his grandmother, right in the hood. Even though his parents had money, he wasn't under T.Y.'s roof most of the time. That twist shocked fans. It painted a whole different picture. Yeah, he was spoiled with gifts and luxuries his neighbors didn't have, but day to day he wasn't raised in the mansion life people assumed. King even admitted himself that the only real time he saw his dad was when the cameras were rolling for Family Hustle. Once the show wrapped, he was right back with his grandma. And here's the kicker. Reports claim King wasn't the only one. None of T.I.'s kids lived with him full time. They would just pop in for the reality show tapings. Even Zanique, Tiny's daughter, said she mostly stayed with her grandmother while T.I. and Tiny were off traveling and enjoying their own lifestyle. That revelation had fans blasting T.I. for playing the picture-perfect family man on TV while allegedly neglecting his kids in real life. And just when people thought the drama couldn't get any heavier, the biggest bomb dropped. Whispers spread that King confided to friends that I might not even be his biological father. According to those rumors, that's why King gets so heated when T.I. tries to show him love in public. It feels staged because behind the scenes, their bond doesn't match the image. To top it off, pictures of a man named B. Anthony went viral online, and fans couldn't ignore the uncanny resemblance between him and King. The internet went crazy, speculating whether Tiny had ties to B. Anthony and if this was the real father behind King Harris's identity crisis.
Okay, so I would say what hurt me would be like, I'm honestly like my mom being like with Tip all the time.
Damn.
Like,
timestamp that.
not timestamp that. I feel like even now and today, like that's how it is. Like they're just tied to the hip. But now I'm grown, so it's like I can't really. But it's like they'd rather go places with each other. So anytime he gotta go, she gotta go. She gotta go, he go. It's just like.
Suddenly, this wasn't just a story about a wild son acting out. It became a saga about family secrets, hidden truths, and a young man feeling like a stranger in his own house despite being born into fame and fortune. That's the real tragedy here. King might be surrounded by money, but his split upbringing, half in the hood with his grandma, half under the blinding spotlight of his parents' fame, left scars that money can't heal. The deeper you dig into King Harris's life, the more it feels like a messy reality show that never turns off. After that Falcons game explosion, the narrative shifted from spoiled celebrity kid to exposed family secrets, and people just can't stop dissecting every move. King's claims that he was left in the hood while T.I. lived it up in luxury divided fans down the middle. Some argue he's exaggerating, trying to push a rap persona as the underdog raised by the streets, but others point to real receipts, footage, and family testimonies that tell a different story. Because the truth is, King really did spend most of his childhood with his grandmother in the hood. And when you look at his bond with T.I., it felt more like a TV arrangement than a father-son connection, something you see during family hustle tapings, not real day-to-day parenting. That already built tension, but when whispers spread that T.I. might not even be his biological father, the whole situation exploded into full-blown scandal. King's outburst suddenly hit different, like when he snapped at T.I. with, "Stop making the world think you with me when you don't." Lines like that cut deeper when people believe there's truth behind the rumor. And of course, the internet detectives went into overdrive, digging up photos of B. Anthony next to King Harris. And the resemblance had fans shook. The comparisons were so striking that the speculation only got louder. Fans started dropping side-by-side pictures online with captions like, "Y'all telling me this ain't King's real daddy?" And the comment sections went absolutely wild. But here's the craziest twist. Tiny, King's mom, has never once stepped in to address the rumors. Her silence left speculation running unchecked, and if she had shut it down with a strong denial, maybe the noise would have cooled off. Instead, the silence only added more gasoline to the fire. Meanwhile, King isn't exactly helping his own case with the way he moves in public. From clowning Waffle House workers like they beneath him to staging that cruel chip challenge with a homeless man, he keeps stacking moments that make him look reckless, chasing clicks instead of stepping into his manhood. Critics drag him, saying he's just following a trend, trying to stir controversy to push his rap career forward. But others argue something deeper is going on, that the wild behavior is really pain speaking. Pain from not having a stable father figure, pain from always feeling like he gotta prove he's tough enough to stand on his own. That's why every time he screams, "I stand on business," it feels less like a flex and more like a shield he's hiding behind. Almost like King is starving for respect, not just from strangers in the crowd, but from his own father. That Falcons game meltdown made everything crystal clear. King shouting at the top of his lungs, T.I. checking him down, and then the infamous headlock that instantly turned into the meme of the week. To the public, it looked like a disciplined moment gone wrong, but to King, it felt like straight humiliation. That's why his Instagram rant afterward hit so raw, because he wasn't just venting, he was bleeding frustration. He basically